guys.
All right, boys. Mr. Lewis, we talk about you enough on the pod. I know you're an avid listener. You must hear us all the time, right? Lewis. You know, Lewis in Florida.
I do. I'm also one of those guys that when you say that I'm yelling at my radio, I do that too. As I'm on my way to work, so I'm a captive audience for like an hour each way. So I'll be like, no, it's not that, it's this. And I'm like, damn it. It's not like I can call in and give you the answers.
So, man,
yeah, we're not like
with that Honda Fit. I would have thought that it had radio delete.
Yeah, it has a couple of options: automatic, air conditioning, power windows, and a radio. It's funny.
Yeah, we're not like the old Howard Stern show where you could call in and make your voice heard, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what I said. Laura and I must have been talking about the Honda for some reason. So of course, you know, your phone's listening too. And I get this video in my Instagram feed. Some guy with a Honda Fit, like he's drifting snowbanks or some shit. So I'm laughing my ass off. So then I see another video pops up with him and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. It's what can I fit into my Fit? So the guy puts a completely disassembled LS with a 5-speed all inside the Fit. And I'm just like, this is dumb as shit, but I couldn't stop watching it. So
okay. I think everyone's had pretty heavy duty examples of their phone listening to them, right? I had one today that was very eerie. One, because it didn't happen instantaneously, and two, well, when I tell you, I think you'll all kind of take a step back and go, holy shit. So a couple episodes ago, we were talking about like SVT models, and I think we started talking about like the 0304 Cobra, and then how, like, you know, there was the Marauder in that era and all that stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, there was a Lincoln. And this is one of those moments too where probably a lot of people were, they were all beating on the steering wheel because we're like, what the fuck was that thing again? Right?
It was the LS. Okay. And you're like, what motor was in that? I'm like, 4.6.
Yeah. So, but maybe you could correct me on this, Lewis, but I was pretty sure that thing just came with a snotty little V6. Like,
so there was the LS 3-liter and the LS 3.0 or 3 something, whatever they called it. So it had a 6, or you can get it with a V8 and had a 4.6 in it. Nothing special.
So it did come with a 4.6 from Ford.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a 30. I don't think it was a 32 valve. I'd have to look that up.
Okay.
And it wasn't a bad looking car.
No, agreed. Yeah. So in my maybe like 10-minute like on the shitter death scroll that I had today on Instagram, like a reel pops up. A reel pops up of a guy with a black Lincoln LS with a great big windmill on the front of it, doing smoky burnout and all this stuff. And I'm like, fuck, we were just talking about how you never see these things. Right. And here's one all hopped up. Because I think I might have even said in that pod, like, I wonder why nobody ever like made one of those a little crazy, right? Well, my phone was listening to me, apparently.
Yeah, as much as I think the conspiracy gets a hold of you, dude, the phone is fucking listening. And if you've got Alexa in your house, like we do, you know that thing's listening.
Oh, guaranteed, right?
Yep.
The other thing about that, now this isn't really a listening thing, but something that really amazes me is how fast your algorithm in social media during like a scroll adventure can shift just based off of like a 2.5 second pause.
Oh God, you're you're so right. I got caught on this. So there's a guy that does custom like cowboy hats. I want to say he's in Kentucky or something. And I've never seen how they make one, right? So he's got the hat and he steams it, he bends it, he shapes, and he starts talking about all the different things they can do. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So I watched the whole video. And he's like, the next video comes up, same thing. Hey, I'll make the hat from this movie. I'll make the hat from that. Like 20 videos later, it's this guy making hats. And I'm like, holy shit. And that was just from the first 10 seconds of stopping on the video. So needless to say, 3 days later, I'm still seeing hat videos.
Okay. I'll lay on the sword on this one. I've got one that happened to me like that too. So this video was one of these horse farriers that like shoe horses, right? And build like the horseshoe and everything. There's
Where
something
they
really
like grind the feet and cut the nails and all that too, right? And then they put the shoe in the
yeah.
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll have to forgive me, ladies and gents, if there's any like horse folks out there. I'm gonna fuck this up royally, but they've got this like carver that like hones out the middle of the foot kind of thing. It's weird because it's like a combination of nasty yet satisfying to watch. It's really weird. You got to watch some of this shit if you've never done it. Next thing I know, I'm fucking 30 videos in. I'm like, what happened to that cow or that horse? And how did they fix its foot? I was fucked watching horse fixing feet videos. Right?
Yeah.
And it was all because I paused, went like, what is that? Next video, horse fixing video. Next video, horseshoe fixing video. It was crazy.
And you guys are into some weird shit.
Well,
I just get the cats.
How did they know?
I get the cats at the door playing instruments and cats doing fucking skateboarding around in a bathtub or whatever the hell that was the other day. I like the cat ones.
I'm getting the AI cat driving with the dog next to him and like a raccoon in the back seat or something. I'm getting a few of those. They're stupid, but they are freaking funny.
That is actually quite well done. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can.
Oh, while you're doing that, there's an update video from Matt Armstrong pulling that Bugatti apart, like front from back, because it's actually like two pieces.
So that car is not a chassis with all the parts to it. It's actually like modular.
Yeah, it's two piece. So like the cab or the cabin there's fuel tanks behind the seats, and that's sort of like your rear firewall, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. And that pulls literally, there's 14 titanium bolts that once you access them and then you pull, obviously you got to like disconnect the drive shaft, you got to disconnect, there's major electrical connectors and all this shit. And Bugatti claim that there's only like 2 certified centers in the world that know how to pull one of these cars apart. And he's like, fuck that shit. And dude, they literally, so they're using this lift to like hold up the car. And they're like, well, we need something to like pull away. So they grab the casters off of like a trash can. Like, you know, big trash cans have like the little caster assembly. So you can like wheel it around the shop. So they take the trash can off and they put the front section of the car on the casters for the fucking trash can and just wheel it off.
Dude, that's cool. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to see. Like just the engineering and everything behind that is super cool. So he needed to get, there's like a mid plate in between the motor and the transmission that broke during the accident that it was in. So they need to try and repair that mid plate. So if they can do that, then the rest of it should actually be pretty easy.
When you say mid plate, is it for body and structure or for drivetrain?
For drivetrain. So
can they machine another one, or is it really complex?
I think they're gonna, like, there were clean brakes. I have a feeling they'll just get it TIG welded. Like, I don't know 100%, like if it was like aluminum or it was like it sort of broke off like it was cast. And I know it's not the easiest thing to weld, but it can be done.
I got a little piece to add to that in one sec, boys, before we get too far away from Instagram. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I just stumbled into this the other day. So I'm going to show you guys like the search page, right? Where like, you know, all the shit that it thinks you're going to be interested in is there. So then just, for me, pick on like a random video. This is some dude on a dirt bike or whatever. Okay.
I saw a lot of girls in exercise pants.
No, there's not. I make sure that those are not in there. So anyway, click on this dirt bike video. Okay. And then in the top corner here, I'm going to try and do this, not looking at my phone. You click on it looks like there's 2 lines and hearts, almost looks like an equalizer, kind of what I would say is an equalizer emblem or something. You click on that. Look at this. Your algorithm. Okay. So lately, I'm just reading off my screen for anyone that's just listened to this. Lately, you've been into high performance cars, rugged automotive adventures, and precision engineering techniques. And then it shows what you want to see more of. So based on your activity, this is all summarized by AI. I got Ford Mustang, off-road vehicles, titties. No, sorry, I mean micro machining, trucks, skiing.
We all want to see that one.
Car customization, Corvette, 3D printing, and snowy adventures. And then there's a little add button. I can add shit if I want, I guess. So this is the closest thing that I've ever seen to showing you what it thinks you're into.
Okay, let me see that screen again that you just read off.
Do you want to see here?
No, look at how simple mine is.
What's it say?
He must have erased his.
You're into
Lately,
cat
you've
videos?
been into vintage car culture, Mustang restorations, and DIY garage fixes. That's it.
Right.
But to the point, I'm barely on Instagram anymore.
Right. So I think it'd be pretty funny to like this could turn into a bit of a game, right? Like walk somebody into how to check this, and it's like, okay, now give me your phone. Maybe don't tell your wives this, boys.
I was
depending
that
on
could
what
be a dangerous game for some guys.
That's it. I'm gonna go check Brittany's.
Yeah. I don't even want to start making jokes about that.
Fucking woo woo crunchy.
But that might backfire on you.
It's true.
You think you're eating healthy now. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
Them
okay.
Veggie burgers.
Okay, back to Mr. Matt Armstrong. There's a video I seen after we talked about him a few episodes ago, and he rebuilt a Porsche GT3 RS or something.
Oh, the one in 24. Oh no, sorry. Never mind. I watched the Ferrari in 24 hours. It turned into much more than 24 hours. Sorry, wrong video.
Yeah. Yeah, which those ones are definitely just something to pull you in. Hey, I'm like, if you can pull that off in 24 hours, pal, you know what I mean? Especially on a exotic car too. But anyway, I was saying, I'm like, there's no way that he can get those cars back to like real close to OEM spec. I just felt that in my heart of hearts. There's going to be some duct tape. There's going to be some shit, right? So anyway, he redoes this GT3 RS, and then he puts this like real exotic track pack thing on it. And apparently Porsche is the only one that'll do it. But Porsche was, even knowing that he did all this work, they were willing to team up with him and put it together. So like the whole hook behind this video is Porsche is coming. I need to make sure that this car has been done right and every bolt's done to spec, because they're going to tear it apart and they know it better than me. And they're going to whatever, make me to look like an asshole kind of thing. Well, anyway, he has a quick little blurb on him, like trying to fix some stuff or whatever. He's like, okay, I think it's good. I think it's good. The Porsche guys show up. They pull the front nose cone off this thing. It's full of fucking duct tape. Like all those carbon bits and pieces that were jacked up from the front end collision, he's literally duct taped together. And now listen, we've laid on the sword many times. Like how we fixed cars at 16 versus how you know better now and fix them now. Two different animals, right? We make fun of wire nuts. We make fun of Morettes. We make fun of whatever. Well, Matt, I guess you just have to assume that he has to do that in some cases. Like, where are you going to get these one-off carbon fiber brake, air ducts and shit?
Dryer duct from Home Depot.
Well, that's just it, right? So anyway, there was a little kind of behind the scenes look in that one that I watched where I'm like, okay, I'm glad that I've been justified now for thinking that. I didn't want to shit on the guy, but it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? How does he do this?
He's pretty transparent to a certain extent. The Ferrari video, now his intention's to keep the car. And I think his intention's actually to like keep most of this shit. to a certain extent, but he does say like, hey, this isn't perfect, but it's functional in my eyes, and because it's my car and whatever, like it'll be okay. Because to your point, right, like, are you going to go and source that piece? Like, is it structural? Is it something that's a possible liability or a concern? If the answer is no, then it's sort of like, well, then just send it. And you know, there was a clip with his dad like soldering together the horn wires of this Ferrari, because I guess they got severed during this accident. And like he's soldering it back together, but like it's sort of like questionable stuff the way that he's putting on the because I don't think he put heat shrink on first. I think he did some shit after, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's sort of, but it's like whatever, it's just a fucking horn. And like to him, it's just a Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like it's just a car. So I guess to the point where it's odd or interesting, I should say, that he's working all these crazy exotics with things that are worth 1,000 times more than certain Foxbody components are. But like if you did that on a Foxbody, you would just get fucking roasted. So he can do it on a Ferrari or on a Bugatti or on a Porsche or on a Lambo or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, it's fine. He put it back together. Good for him.
Yeah. See, the way that they've been, I guess, like portraying this story of the back and forth between them and Bugatti, I find kind of funny because, I don't know, not to sound like a water ass here, but like this Bugatti is like a fucking UFO in many regards. And you've got Bugatti going like, guys, this thing is like built to go 400 fucking miles an hour, right? Like it's not meant to be just pulled apart randomly. You know what I mean? Like we've engineered this to certain specs so it can do these things.
Yeah, they
so
put
like,
it together like aircraft.
Yeah. So it's like for all those reasons, like just bring it to us, because we don't need you fixing it and then going, let's go take this thing up to 400 mile per hour again and fucking falls apart. Like, but then I see the other side of it too, where it's like, why can't, like, we bought it, so why can't we therefore fix it? So I see both sides.
Dude, it's funny, right? So when they're disconnecting the front from the rear, there's tons of coolant lines, hydraulic lines, brake line, like all this shit. And he pretty much is like, we know there's 14 bolts that divide the car because it was on some video that Bugatti talks about these 14 titanium bolts. So he's like, we know there's 14 of them. He's like, however, we don't know what type of fluid Bugatti uses in any of these systems. So they're there literally with cups collecting every fucking drop of fluid because they're like, we need to reuse this because Bugatti's not going to tell us what the fuck it is.
See, and that just makes me scratch my head because I've never pulled apart an exotic car, but I can only imagine, right? Like with just say something as simple as coolant and like the rads that are all over the place. It's like, what is the procedure for bleeding this thing down? Like, honestly, you know, it's an honest question. And then you got this guy that was at one point in his life, a half-ass famous BMX rider. And you're trying to tell me he has the procedure for doing this, you know, and me, who considers themselves pretty dangerous with cars, is going like, fuck, I don't know how I would do that. Like, you're not using the Amazon fucking vacuum sucker to bleed this thing down. You know what I mean?
Well, and coolant's one thing, right? Like they had to pull the transmission off of that mid plate, and the two main lines that like feed all the solenoids, because it's all hydraulic actuated. So those two main lines were actually, they had a soft section in them, almost like the, you know, your AC line with the orifice tube and that shit. There's like that little rubber section. So they actually managed to unbolt the transmission and like turn it around and away and use those flex lines because they're like, if we open the hydraulics of this transmission up, he's like, God knows how you do it. Now, part of me was thinking of how my E60 M5 is, because they're very finicky with the Vano system for the oil and the SMG and all that. But like the computer will usually actually take care of that stuff. Like there's internal bleed through procedures that the computer will just run and tell it to do it. So it's not like you're sitting there trying to pump something or prime something and, you know, releasing a little valve so that you're hoping that fluid and shit pisses out. Like, I feel like a lot of that stuff is actually a little bit smarter than we know. And he plugged in a normal scanner and it read all the systems normally. So I'm sure he could probably do it, but at the same time, if it were me, I'd be paranoid as fuck pulling that apart, not knowing. Because like, man, the fluid was green out of one of the. I'm like, the hell's green? I'm like, okay, brake fluid .5. That's like purple. It's like I've only ever seen it in purple. Is there a green version I don't know about? Like hydraulic fluid, you know, I was just thinking like chainsaw oil, like that's green.
It does
like
have a bit of a green tinge to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, you know, you can have like small blocks, Chev, Ford, Dodge, whatever, that are like goofy to get the air out of. And then you think about one of these cars, like motor in the back, rads in the front, rads in the back, you know, like there's all these high.
Everything's got a radiator.
Yeah. And it's like, they must have multiple points that you can access that
dry sump also.
Most of them, I think, are. There's that. And then there was one. Jesus, we're sounding like fanboys here, but there was another one I seen of his where he took one of these new kind of hybrid Ferraris, part electric, part gas, and there was something wrong with the battery in it. Yeah. And he had to, maybe that was the last step of it all, is he needed some module that you had to buy the whole battery for. It was like a $35,000 touch. And anyway, a lot of these battery systems, and maybe there's some people out there that don't realize this, but there's like cooling systems for these battery packs, right? I can't imagine that those also don't need to be bled down. What the fuck is the procedure for that? Right? Like, I don't know. Maybe, to your point, Chris, maybe I'm overcomplicatedly thinking about this, but I can't help but think, just based on what I know with like basic V8s, American made V8s, and any other whatever cylinder setup. But like, this stuff is a whole nother level. I can assume.
Hey, sometimes you just need to keep it simple. The starter motor for that Bugatti, same starter as in a Passat.
Well, yeah, I guess there's stuff like that, right? Or the airbag crossover.
A 1.8 liter friggin' four banger or whatever.
Yeah,
and that same starter's turning over 16 cylinders.
Right. Yeah.
Those pistons are,
I don't know,
this big around.
Yeah, maybe I am overthinking it. I don't know, but at first blush, I just go like, ooh, like you're getting into the deep end of the pool real fast here, fella.
Yeah.
So KASL Customs not going to be picking up a Bugatti from the auction.
I don't think KASL Customs bank account would ever be able to handle even picking up a wrecked one.
Hey, how far is the closest Copart from the new KASL headquarters?
I haven't looked, actually. Yeah, there's most likely something in Tennessee for sure.
I've actually got a Copart lot maybe 20 minutes away in Taylor. Actually, Lewis has one 20 minutes down the road from him too.
Yeah, there's one not too far away. The whole thing is like looks like a giant dirt lot. There's always a cloud in there. Maybe you can find yourself a convertible in wires also.
Yeah. I don't know. I know you've done it a few times, Chris, but like I've never toured a Copart lot, so I'm not speaking from experience here, but I know anytime like vehicles are in air quote wrecked or salvaged format, like they are treated like logs off the back of a logging truck. You know what I mean? Like forks through, loaders are throwing shit all over the place. And it's the bottom side of the car that you really never see, right? And you
Oh,
think
it's
to
like that
yourself,
other M car you had they
Yep.
picked up with the forks.
Yep.
Yeah, you never know.
yeah,
It's not like the Copart
totally.
ad shows you the bottom.
No. Yeah, that's the way my brain works all the time with pretty much everything in life. It's the stuff I can't see that
Yeah, but
I'm
if it's cheap enough, then the hell. I mean, you're buying a wrecked car generally. If it's cheap enough, it pays itself out, or you get a BFH underneath the carpet there and send the floor back the other way.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's all relative.
It is. It definitely leaves me a little puckered up over the whole thing, right?
I've never
yeah,
bought one from auction either. I kind of skeptical as well, especially if I can't go see it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's bad enough sometimes seeing stuff that you can go view, take a knee, put on a jack, maybe, like that can be scary enough, let alone, sight unseen. Here's 300 pictures, but there's 100 that we're not showing you too.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you it's kind of like gambling. We go to Vegas and this fucker, gambles away $500 like nothing. I slip a 20 on the slot machine. I'm like, man, I just got robbed. So different perspective.
Yeah.
Although you have 3 kids, so you've gambled enough, my friend.
No, I just swung for the fence 3 times. That was it.
So you can say yours worked 3 times. There you go.
Yeah. No, funny enough, not that we need to get into the whole let's get pregnant conversation, but I remember my wife saying to me, okay, I've talked to enough friends and they all told me like how hard this can be to like, once you decide you're going to try to get pregnant. And she's like, I think, like we have to plan this correctly because I'm going to get off the birth control pill. And then, now it's go time type thing. Right. I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I'm just a guy, right? I'm like, sure, let's do it.
Round peg, round hole. It's real easy.
Yeah, right. So birth control pill goes away. All right, game on. Let's start practicing. Pregnant. I'm like, what the fuck? We practiced once. Like I thought we were going to practice for like the next 8 years. This would be fun. Nope. And
not even 8 days.
Yeah. Well, and I thought about it afterwards. I couldn't help but think to myself, I'm like, okay, listen, if 2, what we would like to define ourselves as like properly wired, consenting adults that are going to raise what we deem to be a proper human being, whatever. If 2 consenting adults cannot, decide that they're going to do this and this is how a male's body and a female's body works, I'm like, there's a problem with the fucking system here because 2 crackheads can have a little bit too much crack and have a kid. So surely the odds are in our favor here, right? Yes. We like to watch what we eat a little bit, we take care of ourselves.
Stupid seems to reproduce out of control.
Yeah, that's true. I've been down that road with a few buddies a couple of times as well, where it's like, I'm not one for rules and regulations at all. However, there are cases, reproduction is one of them, where I'm like, we might want to vet some people here. Like maybe those 2 shouldn't reproduce.
Tools, right? Also, you need to take a test before you're allowed to buy tools. God damn. Sometimes when I get to see a car and I'm like, oh, God, who let that guy touch it? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sure, Chris, you see a lot of that now.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully you charge extra to unfuck up what the owner did.
Well, and going back to like Matt Armstrong there, like along these lines, like what you see versus what you don't see. You know, we're led to believe that this thing is ready for auction or, you know, trade in at the dealership. It's like, but is it, you know? And perception when it comes to that topic is very interesting because, you know, Lewis, like maybe someone like yourself or me or Chris or whoever, we can look at someone else's work and go like, what was going on here? Right. But to the individual that did it, they're like, this is bang on 10 out of 10, you know?
Yeah.
Like the perception surrounding that is quite interesting.
It's true.
You know? Yeah, like using Moretz out of your house on your car is fine. And you know what? In all honesty, like if it's in a space where things aren't gonna touch metal, maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe that argument could be made.
It's good for 110, it's good for 12.
And maybe that's the theory that they use, right? But yeah, that's interesting to think about, right? Like just the perception of it all. You know, or paint jobs. Like I think that's a brilliant example, you know, where one set of eyes goes, man, that is like mint paint.
Are you
And then
squinting?
you see it and you're like, yeah, like this is painted with trim clad. What are you talking about?
Well, I think a few pods back, Chris mentioned something about paint jobs. I think it was you, where if a customer comes in and says, okay, I want the car painted, and then you kind of give them the good, better, best for the price, and that's what the paint job is. Because everyone's interpretation, like you just said, it's the same. You know, I've seen people go to Mako and they're like, this is the shittiest paint job I've ever seen. And then you'll see another car come out and they're like, this is the best paint job I ever had. And then a third person looks at it and says, you're both freaking blind. So it kind of is perception. I mean, you got to think if you're paying $2,500 for a paint job, you know, you're getting a $2,500 paint job. There is no, this is phenomenal. Now, if you're doing it yourself and you have some kind of skills, absolutely, it could come out pretty good. But yeah, it's all personal perception. It really is.
Some people are just happy the car's one color.
Yeah, or shiny.
Yeah.
Shiny is always nice.
Well, maybe you two can answer this question because of the time you spent in the Middle East. But remember when we had Adnan on, he was telling us how cheap bodywork and paint is in the Middle East, right? So what, from your guys' perspective, what is the end result of what you get there? Because let's say the paint job is $2,500, but you know, is it $2,500, but we would classify that as a $15,000 paint job here?
I didn't see any of those. I did see, because working more with the students as far as like parking and all that bull crap, because one of the things I had to take care of was the parking lot and them bitching like little kids going, oh, he parked in my spot. This is where I park. He shouldn't be, you know, that kind of crap. And I had some of them showing me, oh, look, I just got my car painted and that kind of thing, cheap paint jobs, whatever. And I don't know if it was because of where the places they go or the kind of car they painted. You know, $2,500 to paint my Nissan Altima versus $2,500 to paint my C63 AMG. You know what I mean? And I'm sure depending on where you're from also might change the outcome of the work you're getting. You know, a local is probably going to get a better paint job than the guy from Malaysia. Maybe the guy from Canada is getting a good paint job, you know?
Right.
That's it. That's a limited experience I had with that. I didn't paint anything. I know, Chris, you did a little bit of like touch-up stuff, and you might have a little more insight into that.
Yeah, I feel it's kind of the same thing. Like you have your, I don't know, Bondo buckets to like fix stuff, and then you have your premium. Like the prices would be overall cheaper. And what you'd pay here, like I had a 335 BMW there that had, it was like something ran down the driver's side quarter panel. And the car had miles on it and it was a daily driver for me. I was just like, listen, like just blend this quarter panel in, like fix the damage and just blend the quarter in so that the car just looks consistent. And like it looked good, but you know, a year later in the Dubai sun, it started kind of fading out. and then you could start to sort of see where the blend was. And, so the job wasn't bad, but the products used clearly weren't the greatest. And that's one thing there as well, is there's tons of shit you've never heard of before, but some of that stuff is like really good and some of it's like really bad. And there's this like mega center, which Lewis will know really well, called the Dragon Mart, and it literally just sells everything and anything that you could imagine. Like
it's like Temu on steroids.
Yeah. And the place is so big, there's like a built-in hotel. Like you can just turn it into a tourist destination if you want to. But
so we're talking more than just body, like paint and body supplies.
No, like
you're talking everything.
Like lighting,
the
fixtures.
President of the university used to send me over there to look at chairs and furniture and all kinds of crap.
Huh.
Yeah. But what was cool is there was a whole automotive section. So there's all these tools that you've never heard of what they are. And you could sort of kind of get a feel for, the quality or how heavy they are or whatever. And I remember I bought 2 engine stands, never heard of the company. They were forest green in color. And, probably in all reality, the nicest engine stands I've ever owned. Like the way that like the legs folded up and you could still maneuver and wheel them around, and the load rating was really high. So that was kind of like, so it's just one of those things where time or somebody that knows, these made in Malaysia products or made in whatever that don't make their way to North America. So once you kind of can navigate through that, then yeah, you can find the quality. And then you can even find the quality in the knockoff shit. Be like, oh, those are the good fake Rolexes versus the, the shitty fake Rolexes. There's like tiers of, shit.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Yeah, I do get a kick out of those types of stores just from like my own personal enjoyment, right? Like going through and kind of seeing what's what. And I've been to a few like Asian markets like that, not in Asia, but in North America. And you're like, what the shit? You can get that? Like, it's like Lewis said, summed up, it's like Temu Live, right? In real life. It's fucking crazy, And I've watched some videos of guys that go through markets in Asia where they like literally hand build their own cell phone, right? It's like, we need a processor, we need a battery system.
Building your PC back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they hot rod this cell phone to existence, It's pretty wild. Yeah, I've always wondered about that because, when you hear cheap, you automatically think the quality's not there. But I'm like, but is it?
There's some nice stuff. Like obviously there's Ferraris and Lambos and Bentleys and Bugattis and all that stuff that need to get fixed when shit happens. And all of that stuff, I've seen some of the facilities of some of the dealerships when I was there, and they're all, top notch. And the techs typically, and I know from the BMW and Ferrari techs, a lot of them came from Malaysia. That seemed to be like the popular place to grab those skilled laborers from. And I guess probably because like they're cheap in their home country, and they just gotta maybe make it a little bit more advantageous for them to be working in Dubai instead. But like, man, super talented. And if you think about it, right, like Malaysians, right, like a lot of them, like they've got tattoos and they've got like just sort of like all of the artsy side about them that sort of leads them down that path. Like, I'm not trying to generalize too much here, but it's just sort of, it's sort of like the Malaysians were the Mexicans to the US. You know what I mean? Like the lowrider, the airbrushing, the metal flaky stuff that, that we're used to by that influence of Mexico. Well, Malaysians, I feel like, brought that same type of flair in their own way. That's where that influx came into Dubai, which is kind of neat. Like, and some of it seemed like Kmarting, as Josh Kennedy would say, right?
Yeah.
It's going to attest to all the blinky lights and the hubcaps, and like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air taxi cab style shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, in the intro video, but
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of places to buy that shit.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's just navigating and finding the right stuff. And I can say this, I saw lots of paint jobs that they just pour clear coat on, like to the point they didn't care how orange peely or how many runs, because they were blocking that out and polishing it no matter what. Like that was just sort of like, this is the way that we do it.
Right.
Because everything has to be, it's going to get polished in the end. And I'm not sure if they believe that that's the best looking finish, because like some people do like a little bit of natural peel, like, you know, that you would get off a OE. But it seemed like there it was, everybody was just like seeking perfection in terms of how the paint and the look and everything is. Because like if you had a dirty car, you stood out like a sore thumb. Like car washing was everywhere, at the mall parking lot, in the hotel parking lot, in your parking garage, like where you live, there'd be people that would probably come and sell you on like, well, even Lewis at the university, we had it too, right?
There was one for a bit, but the right next door, we had the car wash. It was like a conveyor system. You drop the car off, and by the time it gets to the end, they've detailed the inside, the outside, and everything, and relatively cheap.
$10.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, the old assembly line style clean job, hey?
And they covered all different kinds of vehicles. Like when I take my Lightning through there, I was like paranoid. I'm like, oh, these shit boxes. But they treated my truck like it was a Ferrari.
I guess in a place like that where you never really know what class of person you're going to be dealing with, it's just, you gotta be in that top tier of like treatment at all times for everything, whether it's a Lightning or a Ferrari, right?
Although I think Lightnings are more rare than Ferraris over there.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. It kind of surprises me to hear that there are stores like that there. Obviously, I've never gone to Dubai, but just the picture that I get in my head from videos I've watched and whatever is that, yeah, I kind of picture everything almost like Vegas, or at least Vegas Strip, right? Where everything is shiny, clean, fancy
Dubai is Vegas
bag.
on steroids.
Right. But then to
Literally.
hear that there's stuff like this, the whatever.
Off the strip.
How big would that? Okay. We're talking off the strip. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes a little more sense then. Yeah. Cause that doesn't track for me for like what the, upper echelon of Dubai and the image they're trying to create. That doesn't line up as something
that whole
that I
Temu building was a good 20 minutes out of the city if there was no traffic.
Yeah, it was like out in the desert.
Gotcha.
I heard that whole area is built up now. I mean, clearly, I was only there for the 2 years. Chris was like planted roots, but
would you recommend doing what you guys did, Lewis? Like moving to Dubai for a couple years, and was it good for you and the wife? And
before I did that and I lived out there, I'd always thought about if we ever lived somewhere overseas. After we did this, I mean, I'll answer your question, but after we did it, Laura and I are both like firmly believe every American, and I probably think Canadians, you guys are the same, should live outside of their home country at least 1 year out of their life. It gives you a very different perspective of what you have to what is out there. Gives you a little more appreciation for where you live. And it does open your eyes to a lot of cultural differences. Now, us going over there because of the way things are in this country, going over there really gave a vastly different perspective of that region of the world. So we got a very narrowed, what was given to us growing up, especially, this is what you expect to see over there. Guy with a towel on his head, riding a camel, carrying AK-47. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not real. But when you don't know any better, right? It's a very naive way to look at that part of the world. So that definitely was really good from experiencing culture and stuff. If you don't like to travel, if you're not a traveler, then absolutely not. So we like to travel and we want to see as much of the world as we can. So I do recommend. Now, if you said, hey, I'd love to go to Dubai just for a visit, 3, 4, maybe 5 days is plenty. You don't need to be there that long. And you can get enough of that, just that emirate. There's a lot to see around there without just staying there only. But if you're given the opportunity, I think it would be an excellent opportunity. We look at it as, would we do it again? If, like go back and do it over? Absolutely. If I got an opportunity today to go over there now, probably not, because I already did that. But I did tell them at work, we're looking at, something in the UK. I'm like, sign me up. I'll go move over there for a year. I doubt that will happen, but I'd be willing. Once you've already been out, it's easy to go out again. I mean, look at you guys now. You're about to do it. Just a little closer to home, but you're doing the same, in essence, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And as much as you're moving, like Dubai's foreign country, they speak Arabic as their primary language. All the signs are in Arabic. Surprisingly, most of them are in English too. And almost everybody there speaks English or a little bit of English. So that also assisted getting around. When we went to China, totally different. Nothing's in English. Nobody speaks English. Without a guide, we're kind of standing around with our thumb in our ass. Experience, though, it was awesome. But sometimes that could influence your decision as well. Now, if you're like pick up languages quick, or by now I'm surprised they don't have an earpiece that automatically translates for you. Maybe they will. We'll see. Maybe we'll get that.
Apparently the new AirPods do it, because there was a big joke about that. Like all the gals going into like the Asian nail salons, they're like, now we're all going to know what they're talking about.
Something like that would be like game changer for traveling overseas and stuff like that. But I definitely recommend the experience. But again, you gotta want to travel to be, or want that desire to be out. Not everybody is.
Yeah. But I like the point that you kind of highlighted about how it almost should be some sort of a, not mandatory, but like highly, highly recommended, because it does broaden your horizons and give you way broader perspective on, hell, it could be just, I don't know, a situation you have at Home Depot on a Saturday. You know what I mean? And it's like you draw upon that time that you traveled and went like, yeah, you know what? Maybe this isn't as bad as I'm making it out to be, or whatever. Right.
Yeah, sure.
I've often wondered, because, it's kind of easy and, or maybe like ignorant of us to talk about like traveling like we are, like to Dubai or to whatever, but like, to go to, say, some tiny little like dirt road village in Africa, like, now we're talking real deal traveling. Like there's no escape. You know what I mean? You can't go
Third
to
world traveling is very interesting. So we've done that as well. I mean, when we went to China, one of the trips between we went to 3 cities, and one of them was on an overnight train, and that had its own interesting setup, sleeping, singular bathroom for one train car, all that fun shit.
Ooh,
so
shitter.
It was an experience. Yeah.
Wow.
In Argentina, we went to go see the waterfall, which is between Argentina and Brazil, which is, in my opinion, is more beautiful than Niagara, because you're in the rainforest. It's gigantic and everything. So in order for us to get there, we drove, and we're driving all the backcountry highway in the third world country, stopping at bathrooms that I've never experienced, the type of facilities, like 4 stalls, and there's 1 roll of paper outside, and you got to figure out how many squares you need before you go in and peel them off, that kind of thing. And
really,
and that doesn't matter if it's men's room or women's room, but things like that, and where you're eating or getting food, stopping for directions, anything like that. I'm going back a few years, so this was before we had I didn't have a smartphone and Google Maps and all that shit. So yeah, it is a lot different driving and traveling there than it was traveling, in Dubai, especially, me coming from my apartment over to this guy's place in the tallest building on the planet. So very, very different.
So, and you guys did all that type of traveling while you were in Dubai?
So the first year we were there, we spent most of our travel. I mean, we did a few small trips, but we spent most of our travel coming back and forth to the States because of my daughter. because she didn't want to come. And she was like, let me finish this school year here. And then we convinced her to go. She fought Chris kicking and screaming the whole way, like a pain in the ass. So we get her over there. We get her in school. We're living our lives. We traveling this, that, and the other. The 2 years is up. I was going to sign up for a third. They decided, they were going a different route. They didn't need me, whatever the case was. No big deal. I had everything here waiting for me. We came back home. Of course, she fought me all the way home because she wanted to stay. But that year we did travel a lot. And then before that, and since then, we try to take at least one big trip a year. We try to plan ahead and where we could maximize what we're doing. But, Dubai was a good launching point. I mean, look where they're located. Look where everybody that doesn't know, picture the boot where Saudi Arabia is. Dubai, the United UAE is on the laces. So from there, look at all the launching points that are right there. Europe is right there. Asia is right there. Australia is still far as fuck. I didn't go there. Didn't have enough time. But, all these other countries are literally right there. I mean, the saying when something's far away, I don't know if you guys use it. We're like, oh, it's in buttfuck Egypt. I can't use that saying over there. It was like an hour and a half plane ride. It's like, it's in the buttfuck Canada. But I mean, all kidding aside, though, it was a very good, launching place to go. So we did hit a lot of places. I mean, Amsterdam, Belgium, Poland, they're all right there. Kiev, when it was safe to go to the Ukraine before they got invaded, that right. Trip. Sri Lanka, Maldives, China. I didn't make it to Thailand, which is sad because I got a friend there. I needed a little more time, but
that's one I'd like to see.
Yeah, and that's another one that I'm not going to understand anything, but at least I have a tour guide built in.
Well, and I think true, and maybe I'm being ignorant in saying this, but enough people that I know in my life have been to Thailand. Actually, just some friends of ours, like they took a whole pile. I think like their wider like family all went to Thailand for Christmas and had like a day in Bangkok or a day or two or whatever. And then they were like out to the beaches, which anyone that I've ever heard that's gone there is just like, these beaches are like nothing else you've ever seen. Like they're just impeccable. So anyway, but I think that Thailand's one of those places that is traveled enough that even though it's probably going to be a bit of a wild ride when you're there, you probably could just pull over at the next block and be like, hey, can somebody give me a hand here? And someone's going to speak English and somebody's going to point you in the right direction. But the dirt road village of Africa or wherever else, that's a whole nother animal. You can't just pull in at the 7-Eleven and go, where
you
am
may
I
not
going?
be driving in any of those places too. It depends. Some countries have, I don't know. I've driven in a few countries that I'm like, why am I doing this? It just, the way people drive and, I don't know. It's definitely an experience. Our first trip to Ireland, we got the rental car and the fucking guy at the rental car place, he's like, oh, you guys are Americans? And he kind of smartened off to Laura because she was, getting all the keys and signing the paper. I was taking a lead. And he tells her, well, you realize the car is manual. Can you Americans drive this manual transmission? And she's like, yeah, give me the keys. We'll be fine. So then he's like, don't forget we drive on the right side of the road. Not literally, you know what I mean? Right and wrong, not left and right. I was like, jackass. That was actually an experience. Driving standard with your left hand feels weird. The pedals are the same. Everything's the same. First gear is still in the same spot, but it's, way over there. That was odd. That whole thing was a little odd. You get it. You pick it up quick, but you're paying very close attention to what you're doing. So you're not turning into oncoming traffic.
Right. So I was just having this conversation with somewhat of a new friend of mine in Tennessee who has a 240, like an imported 240.
Yeah, Japan spec.
Yep, totally. Beautiful car.
It's funny as shit when you see that pulling up next to you because there's no one in the driver's seat.
Yeah, totally, right? So anyway, it's a little stick car, and we were having this conversation about like just how odd it is that the H pattern is still in the same format because my brain initially tells me that it would be opposite, right? Because of the way that we drive, where first is right beside your leg, but no, first is way over on the other side away from you.
Yep.
And then I said, maybe I could get past that. But I said, I think the part that would really mess me up is that second to third. Because now you're not pulling it, right? Because whatever, the synchros help you along, but like you're kind of pulling it towards you versus pushing it away from you with our right hand, like we do driving on the left, right? And he made the argument that he actually finds it better, the second to third shift.
I did quite a few second to fifths, missing third because I'm thinking I got to bring the shifter way over.
Right.
But rookie shit, I'm sure. You would also think the pedals would be up. I would think everything is opposite, but it's not. Only your seat.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
Hey, this is one that I can't remember. So I was in Ireland once, drove an automatic, some kind of a Lexus or something. I can't remember now. Is the signal light still on the left?
So it's a mix depending on the brand. So I remember being in Australia.
Dude, yeah, you rented that ghetto camper van. I remember you sent me pictures, and I'm like, "You're going out in that? Good luck." Although it didn't have
a camper. So depending on the manufacturer, sometimes it would be the same, sometimes it'd be the opposite. So like and I could never figure out long enough consistently. I'd always hit the fucking wipers instead of turning, and it was the most annoying thing ever.
Okay. Oh shit, there's another one I had along those lines. Oh, okay. So like if you have a column style shift automatic, what side's it on?
It's a good question. I didn't drive anything automatic.
Yeah, like the Lexus I had was in the console. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, that's a good question, because I actually saw one Lightning there that would have been converted. So I'd think if it was a conversion vehicle, it's going to be in its factory, so it'd be on the right hand side, because they're just going to convert shit to make it compliant. Now, if it was production from the OE for right hand drive, that's probably where the differences lie. Like, so production stuff, I feel like maybe more of that, like what we would automatically assume what was on the right is now on the left and vice versa. But versus the conversion cars.
Right. Now they would have, because Europe or like, UK, Ireland, place like that wouldn't have ever had like old pickup trucks. Like where I'm going with this is the old like 3 on the tree manuals.
Yeah, it would have been on the center, not on the column.
Right. And chances are if there's anyone there that are restoring these things, they're going to do it to some sort of a standardized spec that makes sense for them now. But like, where would that be? It kind of brings all those weird questions up that we're so used to it being on our right hand. You're like, how does this all work?
Yeah,
I've never seen one of those on the column. That's interesting. I'll have to ask my dad. My dad was always big into like British cars. We always had them at the house, mostly Jaguars, but Jaguars, Triumphs, Alphas, all this cars. Never interested me as much as American V8s. We had some of that too, but he was especially Jaguars. But all of those cars were manuals, but they were all on the tunnel.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, they were all US spec because they were all left-hand drive. None of them were right-hand drive. They were all US spec. But still, they were all in the tunnel. Nothing came in the tree. Which I'm going to ask.
Speaking of the tunnel too, right? Because typically there's more room. Well, even in a Foxbody, there's more room on the driver's side than there is on the passenger side. So when they convert one of those vehicles, and you can think of jamming the fucking whole pedal assembly into a narrower space versus something that like a BMW, for instance, that is manufactured right-hand drive from the manufacturer, I'm assuming that there's more room on the right hand side versus on the left hand side. And like they could do things like accommodate the angle of the shifter, right? Like think of my Viper truck, for instance. Like that shifter, the handle is so long and it's curved and it's facing
towards the driver.
Your hand towards the driver. So if you were to convert that truck, you'd be reaching over, like you'd need to put the arm in a vise and like bend it over the other way. But I feel like the rotation of the transmission's probably still in favor of rotated a little bit towards the driver's side. You know what I mean? So like that's where probably a lot of this stuff gets complicated.
I guess if it's purpose built, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of a mental note I'm keeping out of this conversation. I'm curious, like, why the whole 3 on the tree ever even came to be. It seems like such a silly way to do things.
It's fucking miserable. I hate driving that. Have you ever driven that, Chris?
Once a long time ago.
Awful. I never understood that either. Pickup trucks had a lot of that, and I don't know if it's because of the whole bench seat thing. But
I was going to say, I bet you it was to accommodate more room on the bench. Because like even, again, my Viper truck is technically, you can have a person seated in the center. When you flip the console up, there's a fucking seatbelt there, but they're straddling the fucking shifter in between their legs.
Yeah, I remember Laura and I cramming into the side and the middle while he's trying to shift gears. I'm like, this is very uncomfortable. But
hey, that was a good thing when we were younger, especially if you had a gal that you were getting to know in the middle seat. Just saying. Yeah, it seems like such a wild way. Like, why did someone even think that was going to be a good idea? There must be a decent explanation out there.
American cars back in the, I want to say 40s and 50s, they had the bench seat up front, and they were 3 on the tree too.
Yeah, some cars did too. Yeah. Like you even think about the mechanics of that column.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's
levers.
It's what?
It's all just, lever action. It's entirely mechanical.
Yeah.
It's complicated. The rotation. First is over here and second's down there and third is over here, back and forth. It's weird.
It is.
It's odd how they came up with it, but I had a diagram somewhere. I probably threw it away by now. It was from an old shop manual and showing where, as you spin the lever, the gear shift around to the different positions, how that interacts down below in the column with the levers that engage the gears on the transmission. And it made more sense at the bottom than it did at the top. I don't have it anymore, but I used to think the same as you. I'm like, why the hell would anybody want this?
It, like, when you compare it to like a tunnel mounted transmission.
Yeah, like an old school top loader 4-speed or something.
Yeah, like it doesn't compute. It's like we overcomplicated this before we undercomplicated it. And why did we do that? And I can't help but think that from a European standpoint, yeah, they're probably just were like, why the fuck would we do that? Like, just cut a hole in the tunnel, shove the shifter through the top and call it good. But I mean, then you've got like some older transmissions that were like levers, like old rock crushers and Saginaws and shit like that. And that's a really goofy system too. It was like we were still overcomplicating this whole idea of how we got this thing into various gears. But yeah, the column shift is a stretch for me. I go like, who was sitting around in that boardroom meeting going, that's the answer? Like, I just can't picture that in my head.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. No. But I'm sure I know that there's people out there that love it for what it is. And, it's just a reminder of that old school flair or whatever. But yeah, it's one of the first things I think I'd get rid of if I had found it in an old C10 pickup or something, right? It's like, that's coming out right fucking now.
Either cut a hole in the tunnel for a standard, normal shifter, or some fancy automatic.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of it's funny when you get having these conversations, right? Because like the whole signal light thing on one side versus the other when you're talking. Because it's it's all British driven, right? Like if there was a British flair in the history of a country, that's where this whole driving on the left-hand side of the road comes from, right? Because like UK, Ireland,
India,
South Africa, I think,
South
Australia.
Africa, India, Australia, Japan.
So it's the fucking crown. Whenever the crown was involved,
Sri
things
Lanka,
went on the opposite
which is
side.
in Little India.
Right.
And if I remember right, the UK still uses miles per hour as well.
Do they?
We
Or
were there last summer. The signs are all in kilometers.
So they've converted.
Well, they do some weird shit though. Like I want to say it, maybe it's gallons, like, or there's a British gallon versus a American gallon. I know that. I want to say, dude, it might just be the slang that's stuck around and hung on. But yeah, they are fully on the metric system.
I didn't drive there this time.
Right. Which, so I'm trying to get the kids and my wife's, for that matter, head around, like actually the one that everyone's kind of scratching their head over is temperatures. Right? Now, Lewis, you have an experience on both sides. You can probably level with me in saying this. Like, I can't help but think, not that I can't do the Fahrenheit system, right? I get it, done it enough, whatever. It all makes sense to me. But I think that's one that we could probably make the argument for the metric system making more sense.
So I agree at the cold end, because if zero is cold, freezing, right?
Sure.
But how is 24 hot, or whatever
that's a good point.
But then again, being a native Floridian and getting my temperatures in the 90s and above most of the year, or my whole life, when someone's like, oh, it's 100 out, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not so bad, it's normal. But when you're like, oh my god, it was 29, I was like, what the hell fuck's that mean? 29,
right,
I think 29 is cold, so
it doesn't seem hot enough. Yeah, that's a good point.
That could just be perspective, but
yeah, for me, it's your initial point. Like the whole 0 point makes sense to me, right? It's like, okay, we're now going from one side of enjoyable to one side of miserable, and that all happens at the 0 point.
But you do realize, like, water freezes or starts susceptible to cold, isn't it, after 32?
Yeah.
So,
and then the weirdest part about it, the weirdest part about it is, I think when you get into the negative temps, it's somewhere around like minus 35 or something, the two intersect, and they're the same for a handful of degrees, and then they both fuck off in their own direction again.
Yeah, but at minus 30, whatever, you're both fucked anyway, so it doesn't matter.
This is true. Yeah.
The temperature one is going to be a challenge for sure, because you guys have never seen it any other way in your day-to-day. When you're traveling is different. So that'll take some getting used to.
The way that I break it down for them is there's one that you just can't argue, and that's the whole 0-32, right? Like that's your start point. I said the next one that you need to be the most familiar with is 72. Now we're talking room temp, right? And then the one beyond that is 100. Now we're getting to hot AF, right? And anything beyond 100, take cover.
100, we're picking up Gary off the ground.
Yeah. So I figure with those 3 points, they can be dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And you can kind of fill in the blanks from there. You got a point of reference.
Their kids, they're gonna pick it up like this.
Just tell them to look at it like their grades at school.
Well, buddy, you maybe been out of this for a little while. I can make your head hurt if you want, because what you think is like a grading system and what the current education system, at least here.
You guys aren't on a 4.0 scale?
Dude.
A is 4, B is 3, C is 2, something like that. You guys aren't on that?
No. Well, now hold on. I'll try to be as like.
Yeah, but when you get it, I understand the grading scale being all fucked up because it is all over the world. But like, if you get a paper or an exam, is it not out of 100? And then all of that gets converted into said grading system scale?
Sort of. So up until, it's crazy because whoever invented this still had the sense about them to be like, okay, once we get to these kids to like grade 10, 11, 12. So wait, I can do this. Senior, junior, sophomore. Okay. Once we get to that stage, we whatever we've done to that point has to go out the window. Now we need a more standardized system, i.e. A's a 4.0, B's a 3.0, so on and so forth. Up until grade 10, they have, I can't even think of the terms that they use. It's absolutely ridiculous. But essentially, it's everything from, I think exceeding is like an A, and retarded is, what do they fucking call that? It's something like you're trying. And there's nothing beyond that.
That 1.0.
Yeah. Yeah. So they use this like, I don't know, some warm, fuzzy thing or whatever they've probably justified.
There's still got to be something numerical attached to that. If they're coming up with a letter, there's got to be.
Nothing. I've asked the whole way through to my kids. I'm like, guys, I explained to them the system that I'm used to, which is the system that you guys are referencing, right? And they went to their teachers and were like, okay, so what is an exceeding? Like, give me is exceeding 86 out of 100 to 100 out of 100? Like, what's the scaling system? How do we translate this, right?
I got a high five. Like, what's that mean?
That's what it boils down to, buddy. Everybody gets a fucking participation ribbon, Man. But then, like I say, in grade 10, they go like, okay, we got to throw this new system out the window because no one is going to know what we're talking about when we try to translate this into post-secondary. So now then they go to the 4.0, 3.0, whatever. But yeah, it's a really messed up system. It's a fucking 3 on the tree system. That's what it is.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
All right. Tell them. So if you can't use the grading, then say this is how long it takes or related to an app getting installed. Like 32, you're nowhere near that app being installed yet.
Oh, there you go. Percentages. Right? Yeah.
But like 70.
How long does it take you to download Snapchat? There you go.
Yeah.
Or how long does it take you to delete Snapchat before dad sees your phone?
Hey, so on my Snapchat saga, I was catching up with a buddy of mine that I haven't talked to in, probably since last summer. And he's like, they're super good parents. They've been a little more lenient. Actually, they've been a lot more lenient in that category of things, right? So their kids' phones are loaded up with whatever they want on them. Snapchat being one of them. And so we were just doing the random catch up. It wasn't like I was ranting about Snapchat or I wasn't leading them down that road, anything. But Snapchat happens to come up in conversation. And he says, yeah, that fucking Snapchat. I'm like, oh, don't even get me started. And he was so fired up already. I could barely get that out of my mouth. He was already getting ready to tell me his story. He goes, you want to know the worst part about this thing is there's this whole like location thing that you can turn on so you can see where all your friends and followers and all that shit are.
Yeah, my daughter does that with some of her friends.
Okay. So, and this is something I didn't even consider, but he goes, the psychological mess that it has put a lot of these kids into on, say, a Friday night when maybe they heard a rumor at school that so-and-so is having a party, but they didn't get the invite. And then they open up fucking Snapchat and it's like, man, there's like 40 of my friends at one spot. Wonder what they're all doing. Oh, right. I didn't get invited, so I'm therefore the loser or whatever, right? It's like, holy shit. You know, like, did anybody see that one coming? Or was this just a neat way to keep track of everyone?
You know the equivalent of that from when we were growing up, right? You ride on your bicycle and there's like 30 bikes in the front yard and you're like, oh, I guess I didn't get the invite.
Totally. Yeah. But you could pull up on your bike and start letting air out of tires. What do you do now?
Right? Now you each.
Yeah. You just sit in your room and sulk or start making a hit list. I don't know what kids are doing these days, but it's, like the psychological side of that's pretty wild. And it's all in your palm of your hand, right? You're like, well, fuck, no one's around tonight. Why is no one answering their phone? Well, wait a minute. Like, I don't know. That's one that when I heard it, I was like, man, I was literally keeping my kids away from this shit for like fear of dick pics. Like, this is dick pics on steroids.
Yeah.
Like, that literally does probably lead kids to fucking start making a hit list,
I don't know. I can't imagine being with your kids' age, because mine's turning 27. So most of that didn't exist when she was younger. So I didn't have to be as concerned. I had to be concerned with, freaking pervert on the street type of thing more than I did on the other end of the phone. So that's a tough one, man.
Well, it is, right? And I mean, you can kind of get out the tinfoil hat on this too. And it's like, well, everything's hackable, right? So, are these creeps hacking in and, there's a whole pile of them at one low, or maybe it's the opposite. Hey, there's one of this friend group that's all by herself and she seems to be walking down some dark roads, right? I don't know. I'm just saying I would way rather have my kids kind of air quote hate me now and know that, that's kind of the worst that I'm going to have to deal with versus being on the other side of it, being like, yeah, I was the happy-go-lucky parent. I let my kid have all this shit. And then maybe their phone got hacked and they were that one lonesome kid walking home and they got centered out and whatever, picked up and never seen again.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a pretty good imagination and I can kind of vaguely imagine where I would be at psychologically in that scenario. And it's not fucking good.
Yeah. Well, dude,
really not good.
I think you guys, parenting style is personal. Everybody doesn't need to weigh in, but they're not your buddies. They're your kids. You're teaching them.
Yeah.
You can be buddies when they're older. And I think a lot of that gets lost. I see parents, I don't go out to dinner type of thing as often anymore, but we used to. And I'd see parents there and I'm like, that's not your buddy. That's your kid. My favorite is the satellite kid, the one running around the table. I'm like, take his ass home or sit him the fuck down. Or would you like to use my belt? I mean, that's how I was brought up and it worked wonders, but it's not popular now.
No, it's true, man. But it's funny, bud, because I can't help but think that there's a really fine line between, kind of that buddy, that parent. And it's almost like you got to give the impression of a buddy, but still have that 800-pound parent gorilla in you.
Yeah, it can be done. You can be friends with your kid and still be their parent. They just need to understand that you are their parent and give you that, respect. And every kid does it as they get older. They, I can take my dad, or I'm smarter than my parents, and it's normal. You did it to your parents, they did it to theirs. Your kids will do it to you. But it's that knowing where that line is to show your parents some respect, Again, I think that's how I was brought up, but everybody's a little different. So,
no, I think most of us were, bud, for sure. I think for me, what it boils down to is that respect level, because where I was kind of going with that statement there is, like, there's the old saying, right? If you don't let them out the front door, they're going out the window, kind of thing. And I'm very ultra conscious of that. Like, metaphorically speaking, in all of these various scenarios. Yeah. because I know, well, we all had scenarios like that when we were growing up where it's like, hey, no one's going to find out about this, right? Especially not my parents. So let's just, everybody
Thank
shut
God there
their mouths.
wasn't fucking camera phones when I grew
Oh,
growing up with the dumb shit that we used to do. Because when
and
growing up, school would get out and I'd be on my own until my dad showed up at 6. So
oh, totally.
get into
Yeah.
all kinds of
Stand
dumb
by
stuff.
me. Yeah. Stand by me. Dead bodies on the train tracks. Like shit. But yeah, I think it does boil down to respect because, I know when I was growing up, one of the worst things that I could hear from my mom's mouth was, "You've disappointed me." Right? Like that was worse than anything because I held my mom in such high regard, right? There was that level of respect. So the disappointment side was just, I don't know, that was like sword in the guts, right?
Yeah.
And I've taken that with me and tried to apply it to my kids because there are times like us probably looking like real shitheads as parents in their eyes, not letting them have Snapchat or whatever. But that's kind of a lighter one, like the bigger ones would be like, I don't know if you're not, I can't think of something off the top of my head, but something where they can royally screw their lives up, right? Like really, really badly. Let's say pregnant, something to that effect. And now I think I mentioned it on here before, like one thing I did, it started as a joke, but it turned into something that I was just like, yeah, you know what? Let's run with this. I was like, okay, any dude wants your number. You have to get them to call me first. And I'm not saying I won't give them your number, but I think that's a really good initial bar for this fella to hit, just to have the nuts like we did, right? When we had
my God.
the house phone.
Yeah. First, you got to get up the nerve to ask the girl for a number. Then you got to get up the nerve to call it. And then you pray that her fucking fat parents don't answer the damn phone.
Right. Because you're sweating bullets on the other end, right?
Yeah.
Like, excuse me. Hello. Like, fuck. But dude, I look back on that now as a badge of honor.
Yeah, it helps with public speaking. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
totally.
When I started dating my wife, her dad doesn't speak English. So if I called their house, I'm like, oh fuck, I hope her parents don't answer. Her mom spoke English, but her dad would answer, and I'd be sitting there mumbling through like broken Spanish and English. I'm sure he's probably laughing at me, going, "Hey, this stupid gringo is on the phone for you. Come get the phone."
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, that teaches you a lot, those kind of things.
It does. And Chris and I have referenced Landman. Did you guys watch Landman at all, Lewis?
We did watch the first season.
Okay. I think it might be in the second season that this happens, but
Bob's it's out.
Yeah. So Billy Bob's son is gonna go down and meet this gal's parents, right? And like hard motherfucker this guy is, right? Like out on the lawn when he pulls up.
The same girl from the first one, right? That's the widow with the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's got to drive, I don't know, a handful of hours to go down and do this. And anyway, they lay it out quite well because not only does he got to make quite the journey to go do it, he's well aware that this dude's probably not going to mess around and he could probably snap him like a twig if he wanted to. And anyway, on and on and on. But yeah, like what I took away from it was just like, man, that's unreal to know that like people are still doing that,
Yeah.
I can't help but think, I know there's lots of little messages like that in that Taylor Sheridan's movies, and I love it. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like that Snapchat thing, it's like all you need is someone's name, right? So if some little bozo finds my daughter's name out at school, well, he can just log on to the Snapchat and boop, boop, boop. Oh, there she is. Send her a message. It's like, huh, you made that real easy.
That most
way
social media is like that. As long as you know the person, you can send them a message.
Yeah, you
how
don't
many,
need to hunt for the
how
phone
many
number.
guys you don't know have you sent a message going, hey, is this available? Or, I want to buy that fucking black interior from you or whatever. Think
That's
about
true. Yeah.
it. Some
We're using it for car parts, not for
car parts. It's acceptable.
Yeah. It's justifiable, right? But
dude, isn't your
yeah,
oldest one 14 or 15?
15. Yeah.
You don't think the boys are going to be knocking on, hi, Mr. KASL. Yeah,
I mean,
you know it's going to happen.
Sort of, kind of. Like, I know we've had a couple run-ins. I told Chris about one where my phone rang while we were doing a pod one night, and it was a number I didn't recognize, which I think everybody these days gets enough marketing calls. You just send those to the bin real fast, right? So I'm like, oh, whatever, no big deal. Well, anyway, after the pod, Kaylee, my oldest, grabs me. She's like, Dad, here's the thing. Some guy asked me for my number and he was really persistent. And I just said, listen, you got to call my dad. And here's my dad's number. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. So what are you thinking? Like, that might have been him? Well, I don't know, right? Like, what's his number? I wonder if he tried calling. So pull up my call history. Sure enough, it was that guy. And she's like, well, here's the thing. Like, I don't really want to get to know him. I don't really like him like that. I'm like, I fucking like him. Like, I'm going to call him back and say, dude, come on by. I like how you're rolling here. Because he had the balls to phone.
Oh, getting into some arranged marriages over here.
This is like pimp territory.
Yeah.
Listen, boys, that is not lost on me. I mean, like, shit, Lewis, I'm sure you can remember, like, as your daughter starts getting older, you still picture them. And I tell my kids this all the time, like, you literally fit between my elbow and my wrist.
Like a football.
Yeah.
Head in the hand, legs in here. That's it. Little football.
100%. And I'm like, sure, you're bigger now, so I can appreciate that. But I'm like, I still view you as this little thing that I need to take care of forever. I'm like, yeah, get your 15, but like, fuck, this is hard. And I pull the parent thing that we all heard way too much when we were younger. Like, you're going to thank me one day for this, that whole bullshit thing.
I didn't
but
get
I'm
that.
saying it.
I got because I said so.
Yeah. There's that too. Yeah.
I got lots of that.
But I tell them all the time, like, guys, listen, I don't know how else to tell you this, but like, you won't appreciate this until you have kids. Like, you don't know how much you can care for something until you create another life. And your outlook changes completely in that instant.
Yeah,
and
you want to take care of that.
Oh God, man.
Yeah. Even if it drives you fucking nuts, you still want to take care of it.
You do. Like, yeah, you're 15 and yeah, you think you know it all, and you are pretty sharp. Don't get me wrong. Right. I'll give you that. But like, fuck, I know what those little pukes are thinking. I was that little puke.
Yeah. All the dumb shit you did that you got away with is now circles back because karma's a real thing. So if you were an asshole to your parents, guess what? You're going to get that back.
Yeah. Well, and the best and worst part about this, I mean, I laugh about it, but you guys have kind of heard or seen, not met in person, but my mom, who is an interesting character, right? Love her to death. But my kids have found out that, like, hey, sometimes we can get grandma on her toes and we can find things out about dad that dad probably doesn't want us knowing, right? And my mom's getting better at it, but she's fucked up a few times, right? Like, so grandma, when was dad first allowed to date? And my mom, not having much of a fucking micron filter between her brain and her mouth, right? So it's just like, bloop, and then goes, whoopsies, right? I'm like, hey, dickhead.
I put condoms in his birthday card in 12.
Yeah. Like, zip it. Fucking loose lips. Like, what are you doing? I'm trying to raise my kids better than you raised me here. Fuck. But it's tricky, man. I don't know. Teaches you a lot about life for sure. Humbles you. Yeah, it's an interesting ride.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, you need to get one. It's a lot of fun.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
We've done a pretty good job of avoiding everything but the cars we love tonight.
Oh my God, that's so
Lewis.
funny you said that. Dude, my wife just texted me and goes, are you guys going to talk about cars at all in capital letters? I'm like, yeah, who knows? Yeah, she's in the other room over there.
I've heard rumors that the Coupe might be coming north this spring.
Yes. That's what I was planning on bringing to pits. Of course, so you know, gear oil has that lovely scent. So I go into the garage, smell gear oil, look under the car. I'm like, fuck, pinion seal's leaking. So I was like, all right, that's not that difficult. So I procrastinated a little bit and finally get the car up in the air, you know, kind of squat stance. And I'm like, that'll be easy. I'll take the bolts off the drive shaft. And I was like, you know, while I'm at it, famous last fucking words, I've got an off-road H-pipe here. This car still running all the stock exhaust and emissions and all that garbage. So I'm like, I'm just going to remove this bullshit. So come to find out that that stock H-pipe probably hasn't been off the car, I don't know, since 1990. So I'm wrestling this thing off. Half the day later, I get it off, and one stud on each of the stock exhaust headers, manifolds, whatever you want to call the stock headers. One stud on each one of those snaps off. So I was like,
shit.
Okay, now I got a new
need
problem.
Headers.
So do I fix the stud or we put headers? So I was like, let's put headers. So I get on Marketplace, I start looking. Meanwhile, I message Chris. I'm like, okay, you got all that bullshit sitting over there. How many pairs of headers do you have? What do you got? So turns out he had a set of headers that he got off of me for a project that he didn't use. So he's like, you want them back? And I'm like, all right, I'll buy them back. So we make a deal. He mails them to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. So during all of this, I start removing all of the pollution stuff, you know, the thermactor, all that garbage related to that, all that plumbing, the balance pipe behind the heads, take all that stuff off. Now I'm looking at the engine bay going, man, this car is nowhere near as clean as what I did in the Cobra. This engine bay is dirty. So I'm fighting this urge to pluck the motor out of there and really clean everything up. And yeah, so of course, you know, Chris is like, don't do it later. It's fine. You're driving that car. And I'm like, I know, but it's hard for me to leave it like this. So my wife tells me, don't worry about it. You can do it later. Just get the car back together now. And then over the summer, you can take the motor out and do whatever you want. And I'm like, So I was like, fine. So I'm like, I'll just wipe this, you know, clearly back to what I said about people needing freaking test before they buy tools. Someone clearly didn't know how to fill the oil through the opening that says oil. So they spilled it on the valve cover, all in the head, it's everywhere. So I start cleaning that up and I realize, I think the valve cover gasket might be worn, you know, the old cork one, right? The original. So I was like, I'll change that while I'm here. So I popped that guy off and the valve cover gasket actually came off in 3 pieces. So I was like, okay, that clearly needed to be changed. So I'm cleaning all that. I go to get it back together. And I'm like, man, you know, the inner apron, you know, the inner where the frame rail and that whole thing where the air box is just doesn't look fresh anymore because Ford barely puts any paint in there, as you all know. And it's also white, which is there's not a lot happening there. And I noticed it more on the, let's say, probably 90 or 91 and earlier cars are the ones that I've had a little more than I've noticed on the later ones. But that top of the fender where it comes down to meet the top of the frame rail there, the inner fender, where the VIN sticker is, sometimes the paint is just sort of like vanished from there and it's just gray primer. You know, it's almost like it got sandblasted off over time. Well, this car has that paint fade. So I was like, yeah, so I prepped and painted that.
Did you?
I couldn't help myself. So now I'm, by the way, I still haven't done the pinion seal. I still haven't gotten there yet. It's sitting on the whole thing. It's sitting on the workbench. I just have not done it yet. So it's all ready to be put back together now. So I'm now looking at the driver's side thinking, should I do that side too? And then I've convinced myself, asshole, put this side back together, put everything back together, and then determine the next step. Because I think that while I'm here has gotten so far out of control that I'm at this now, you know, little at a time. Of course, it's been cold for my standards, and I'm sure Tom's laughing at me because he sent me these horrible like white Christmas photos, and it's not very motivating to go outside, right? So at night I'm like, nah, fuck that, too cold. So on the weekends I've been going out there, but it's not. I'm going to get to the point where it's going to be go time to leave for pits, and the car's going to be still in the air waiting for the pinion seal and nothing put back on yet.
Right.
So, although this weekend I have a 3-day weekend, so I'm hoping to make some really good progress. At least get the pinion seal done and the exhaust back up there, so I can make sure I don't have any leaks and stuff. Because the headers are ready to go. I got the H pipe ready to go. So it's just bolt and go once I change the pinion seal. So
was that a Canadian car? That one?
Yes. So it's got whatever that goo is that you clowns spray on the bottom of your cars. It's got it all over it. So I want to do that dry ice and clean all that off, because the car is clean. It's solid. There's no rust. It's just ugly.
Protected.
Yeah, exactly. It's sealed for my protection. But after I had I had the Cobra in the air as a shell, and I basically cleaned and painted every surface of that car, so it's it looks tidy. Yeah. So now I'm kind of jealous that this one's not the same way.
Right.
But I'm not about to tear it down to a shell.
Because you've got the DECH body kit on that. So
it had the rocker guard, yes. But
it's gone now?
No, so it's under the body kit, but on the bottom of the door is my DECH body kit installer guy. He removed that crap for me.
Okay.
So the bottom of the door under the molding, that got sanded down and painted, so it's nice and smooth instead of all pimply.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts on my car, but
it was a tough decision because that car is still original paint. So I was like, but now it's not going to be original paint. And then Chris showed me a picture of that. He goes, "Do you not remember what this looks like?" And he shows me the picture of the car with that, and I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I was like, no, cover that up.
Totally. Yeah. It is one of those angles though that you see
it if the car you got to be on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It does kind of whatever. You can sort of sneak by with it, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. One of those things, right?
And it's a weird add-on that I don't understand. Like if they wanted to save the car, spray that shit on the inside of the doors. Pull the door panel, spray it inside, and seal the inside of the door if that's what you think. But putting on the surface on the outside, unless it's just strictly, like they said, rock guard, like rock chips. But other than that, it's not protecting shit.
Well, no, and I mean, I guess maybe the argument is it adds an extra layer of oomph before you get to metal. But it's still it chips up and fades and looks like shit just as fast. Like the paint's still, the soft paint that it is.
Yeah.
So
mine's single stage.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't even have, now that is something else I've been thinking about is, should I clear that car to seal the original paint underneath? And whatever defects are there and anything doesn't matter, just to seal the car. And I'm like, So I don't know. Maybe I should drive it more and worry about less of that other bullshit.
Yeah, because you haven't, since the Cobra's been done, you haven't been out in much, right?
No, I haven't. I've been driving. I drove the other one a little, although lately I haven't been driving either one of them. I think I've taken the Lightning out more than I have either one of those things.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you guys have had 2 years now where you got stung with weird weather. Like, are the locals walking around going like, what the fuck is happening here?
A lot of people have asked about the cold. Like last winter wasn't so bad. This one has been exceptionally cold. Like we hit all kinds of records and stuff with the lows that we hit.
Like scrape your window. Like what the fuck is going on? That's beyond my comprehension.
We have so much moisture here that once the old mercury dips below your zero, you could get frost and stuff like that. And that's what we got. And waking up to that is just, it's not normal for natives, for all the transplants. I'm sure they're like, whatever. Like my boss originally, I think he's from Virginia. I think is what he told me. He's like, just get your ice scraper out. And I'm like, asshole, man, I'm from South Florida. We don't own that. And they have a back scratcher. That's about it. But so I don't know if he was trying to be funny or what, but it's annoying. It's annoying if you don't know what to do with it, if you're not used to it, that's all. But for me, not so much a scrape part, although my fingers get cold, it's the temperature that it is to sustain that.
Yeah. Does it, because
it is
of
odd.
the back scratcher?
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta, the credit card's another good solution to that one.
That's what I use. I turned the defrost on so it can start softening it, and then I got out there with a credit card. And my daily is that Honda is a small car, fits everywhere. It's like a go-kart, but the windshield's fucking gigantic,
right.
and in proportion.
Huh. So does, like, with the humidity, because you guys stay humid over the winter months too, right?
Pretty much,
humid?
yeah.
Like, did it wreak havoc on the roads?
No, it doesn't. We don't get like ice on the roads or anything like that. It's not enough.
Okay.
Yeah. But the yard is got all frosty, like white.
Right.
But as soon as the sun comes up, that shit burns right off.
Yeah. Well, and didn't there's a spot there, like up in the top, sort of northwest corner of Florida, Destin, I think it's called Destin.
Yeah,
Florida.
That's out towards Panama City. They got snow.
Yeah, didn't they get snow?
Yeah, so did Tallahassee, which is north of us as well. Yeah, North Florida actually saw some snow.
How does that even happen?
Fuck if I know. It's weird.
Yeah, like those are places that people go during Christmas to get a suntan, and they're getting snow.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, this is just a bridge too far for me, you know.
Yeah, the tinfoil hat people are saying that we're going to have a bad hurricane season because we had a cold winter, and I'm like, I don't believe that, but who knows?
Well, isn't that kind of how the whole thing happens? Like, it's a cold front meets a hot front and pressures and stuff, and that's how they begin, isn't it?
Yeah, but we don't get hurricanes in the winter. That's a tropical thing. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
That's in the summer when the temperature goes up. The water is nice and hot.
Right. And that's how they start. Okay. Yeah, that's super weird, man. I mean, I've kind of rubbed it in a few times with you, but like, we've been on the opposite side of that spectrum where, like, we literally have not had a winter.
Yeah, it's odd. I found that very odd. But again, the whole eastern seaboard got this weird winter this year.
Yeah. Huh. I don't get it. And we're obviously not complaining, but when you're getting colder temperatures than we are, like, what the shit is going on? And then Tennessee too. So anybody that I've already met down there, right? Like, they're sending me messages going like, "Hey, listen, we okayed you, but
not
you
your
can't
winter.
bring the fucking weather." Yeah, like, piss off with all this shit.
Yeah, you packed it in with those Mustangs when you shipped them down there.
It's true.
So technically, was the winter worse where you're going to be moving to in Tennessee than what you've had in Kelowna?
100%.
So it just doesn't make sense.
That's kind of
funny,
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No, like, it's wild. Like, when I was down there in December after I was at your place, Chris, there's like a fountain in town, and I got pictures of it. I should start posting some of the shit now that the story's out, but the fucking fountains froze right over. Like, it wasn't just like, Lewis, like your type of cold. Like, this was like extended period of cold to the point where
real
moving
winter
water froze. Like, and it froze in fountain format. And like, you guys would be in the same boat. It's like, how do we deal with this? Like, do we shut the fountain off? Well, no, because then it's really going to freeze. So they keep her running, and it actually turned into a really neat looking kind of ice sculpture, right?
Yeah.
But the funniest thing was, so I've referenced this shop that we've leased and have had leased since June of last year, of which I should start telling more stories about this, because all my buddies around here, they're like,
"How big's the shop? How big's the shop?"
3,300.
Oh, it's good size.
Pretty. Yeah. Now you'll see it. I guess
it's difficult to tell in your video from the angles. I was curious.
Well, and quite honestly, the square footage is a little misleading because there is like a whole front area of the building where there's like 2 offices, and it actually came with furniture. I've got like a boardroom table, which we're going to change the name of to the beer drinking table, right? But yeah, so there's probably up front, like I'm going to say somewhere around like 800 to 1,000 square feet of non-shoppable, workable space.
Parts and storage.
Totally, right? It can be the wife's OnlyFans office.
There you go.
So we're gonna have to find a way to survive as we get this thing off the ground. But yeah, all my buddies around here, they're like, "Hey, where's that really expensive key that you've got on your keychain?" Because I'd never even put it in the fucking door. Like I did this all from a distance, right? Leased it, and imagine too, say you were a landlord that didn't know anything about me. You don't know if I'm trustworthy. You don't know if the funds are good. You don't know anything. And I'm like, hey, you like call them with some fucking jackhammer accent. Like I want to rent your building. And you're like, what? You know, like this just doesn't make sense. Anyway, thank goodness these guys were good enough to do that because it was one of our stipulations we had to do before we were even approved.
Right.
But, fuck, I'm trying to think where I was going with that story now, boys. I answered too many questions in the middle. My expensive.
I have questions about the shop, so that's probably my fault for derailing your memory train.
No, it's good because I know I'm sure lots of questions out there for sure. Yeah. Oh, I know where I was going with it. So signed up in June, and then Tennessee has this crazy winter. It was like, well, crazy on the whole, but there was 2 points in time where it was like extendedly bad. The last one being the worst of the 2. But the time that I came down to see Chris and then went to Tennessee after, it was cold at that point in time too. So while I'm there, I get an email from the landlord of the building, and it's like disaster prep for the cold weather that's coming. And it's like, here, if you do have outdoor taps, it's all this stuff that, growing up in Canada, you'd be like, hey, don't worry. Like this building that I'm leasing off you is going to be the least of your worries. I'm sure everyone else has questions, but like I could probably take you to school on quite a few of these things, But yeah, and then I got the email again when they got the ice storm that they did here 2 weeks ago or whatever, right? I think that there's still places that don't have power in and around the Nashville area. Like they're going on a couple weeks.
Damn.
Because those trees that aren't used to freezing and they're full of moisture and whatever else freeze up and just pretty much explode.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Well, hopefully, some normality, whatever. It'll be more normal next year.
Well, one more little thing I'll throw in there. I seen quite a few posts on the social media coming out of areas that, like down by you, Lewis, right, never have to deal with snow or winter conditions or whatever. And there was people seeking genuine advice for like, hey, how do we deal with this? Especially in like, if we have to drive somewhere, and what's the best way to do this, and so on and so forth. Some of the advice, which I know you should never go to social media looking for advice, but I'm here to tell you, boys, some of the advice that was coming out of people's mouths, I'm like, they must be joking.
Well, it's like the pour hot water on your windshield to get the ice off. Like, no.
Dude, this was even worse than that. I'm like, obviously I'm reading text, but I'm thinking to myself, like, did they write this with a straight face? Like, there's no way they could be serious in what they've said. And I couldn't help but think, I'm like, I should just, pick these posts out and be like, hey, most of you guys know me, or maybe you've heard of me. Call the local Canadian. Okay. Like, I'll help you, don't fucking take advice from whoever in winter related questions. Okay.
Listen, we were getting down into the 20s. I'm not gonna lie. I reached out to Chris and Tom, and I'm like, "Hey, what do you do with this bullshit? You're over there practically wearing shorts." So I asked these two clowns. I'm like, "What do you guys do with this bullshit?" Tom's laughing at me. I'm like, "Dude, my well's outside. It's exposed." So I covered that. I covered the hose bibs. I covered all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess even down by you guys, like you probably wouldn't water your lawn. Do you guys even water your lawn in the summer, or is it wet enough on and off to?
It depends. I mean, I got the sprinklers, and like right now they're not running. Everything's dead. But yeah, we do just lower the frequency. That's all. Okay. It depends how much landscaping you have too. I have hardy, like low maintenance stuff because I hate doing yard work.
Okay. Because that's the stuff that I think about when these scenarios pop up, where I'm like, man, that can wreak some serious havoc, especially with long periods of cold. Like you freeze a whole underground sprinkler system or a fucking pool. Like now, like we're talking, we need an excavator. We got to dig some holes here to fix shit.
Yeah, I covered like you mentioned pool. I threw something over the pool pump and stuff because the plumbing's all exposed there, right? And the pool is actually, I guess you could say it's intelligent. When it goes below a certain temperature, it comes on and it stays water circulating. So the pool ran, practically 24 hours for a few days while the temperatures were low, stuff like that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If you don't protect that shit, you're digging up pipes.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like super basic stuff like that obviously everybody should probably have picked up in like grade school, but moving water, unless it's like outrageously cold, like moving water won't freeze, right?
Friction.
So keep her moving. Yeah. But yeah, some of the advice I was seeing surrounding like how to drive, which 4-wheel drive selection to use, like 4-low was actually brought into the topic. I'm like, oh my God, like are people driving down the fucking interstate in 4-low? Like, no. Like there's just stuff that anyway, growing up where I did, like, yeah, there was a lot of bad advice getting thrown around there. So hopefully we don't have to deal with any of that bullshit anymore.
So Lewis, do you want to talk about the Cobra?
Your red one? I'd love to.
No, yours.
Oh, why? I haven't done anything with it.
You could rake somebody in.
I don't know if I told Gary, I am going to be downsizing my vehicles. I have 4 and I'm out of space and I want to start working on the next project. So I'm leaning towards selling the truck and the Cobra and keeping the coupe and get on with the next build of Brand X, because this is a Ford podcast.
Because you've got a long project that is sitting in pieces, non-Ford related, right?
Yeah, I don't care. I was only kidding, but yeah, it's a 56 Bel Air. So it's mostly assembled. That was started as a father-son project. I've had it a long time. But it's time to finish that or get it gone. And, it's not as ambitious as Chris's Lincoln because I already did all the hard stuff. But, so 3 years ago because we went to SEMA just now we're in 26 already. And 25, we just went to SEMA. 3 years before that was the last time I went to SEMA, and I was already looking at some chassis back then and thinking, one of these chassis would be really cool to slide under the Bel Air with, something modern other than that anemic 265 and brakes, this, that, and the other. Of course, I had like 4 Mustangs or 5 since then. So I decided to wait on that and kept playing with my usual junk. And now I'm like, okay, dude, I've had this car a long time. Like we're talking 30 years, and it's time to shit or get off the pot with it. So this past trip to SEMA, I went looking for chassis again. Obviously he was looking at something for the Cobra project. So I was like, I'll look at that too. I checked out what they made for the Foxbody and all, which is pretty cool. And I was like, there's options for these, big boat General Motors cars. So I'm thinking of going that route with that car. Ooh. And I've got a few ideas. I mean, shit, I'm still it's still sitting on my desk here, reminding me, this is
Okay.
the Roadster shop brochure. So I'm still, I haven't decided which one I will go with, because clearly they're not the only one, but it depends on, I want to decide, like suspension and brakes, stuff like that ahead of time, so that I can make the right choice. I'm not looking to junkyard build this, because that's not the path you go with a chassis. For that matter, you just keep the one that's under it. So
I was going to ask you that. Is it a frame car? Like it's on a frame?
Full frame. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Weight wise comparison, what did we come up with, Chris? Like 300 or 400 pounds heavier than a convertible.
Yeah.
So
than a Fox convertible. 300 or 400 pounds heavier with the new chassis.
No. As is.
Oh, okay. So you'll lighten it up by putting a chassis under it.
Probably, and not to mention it'll be a little stiffer too, because those other ones, after all these years, like there is a little bit of frame sag in that car. You can just tell. I mean, hell, you put a jack under the center of the car and you can see it flex a little. Yeah. After all, I mean, the car's 70 years old, right? But from it's a control arms in the front with a coil, standard old school suspension, leaf springs in the back. Hell, the shocks mount to the body in the back, not to the frame. It's just very old tech, and drums all the way around. And I think, because of, I can't even have people driving normal now around my freaking Honda. How am I ever going to go anywhere without, I don't want to be driving 30 miles an hour defensively. I want to be able to get in the car and drive it and enjoy it. So all of those aspects have led me to think chassis, or something more modern, so I can enjoy the car.
Well, and I know you're a very analytical guy, which I admire. So have you thought, like, the cost of the chassis, which I'm going to guess is probably somewhere in and around that Foxbody pricing, that versus, say, trying to piece together?
It's about 15. About 15 if you go with this spec series for the Tri 5 Chevys.
So that's like nothing on it, though.
Oh, okay. That's kind of where I was going with this.
It says spec coilover chassis lineup, and then it's got a list here of what it comes with. So it has a bunch of features. I think I might want the bagged one if possible.
Oh, okay. Because that's kind of where I'm going with this, is like, like, well, I guess Chris, you're kind of finding this out right now or whatever, but like, I'm very curious to see like a side-by-side comparison of, well, for me, mostly it's just in the Fox realm, but even like in the Bel Air realm, like if you were to say I know you could never get it close to the spec chassis performance or abilities, but if you were to say, do the 4-wheel disc brake setup on what's already underneath it and everything else, versus say going all that shit with the spec chassis, like what's the side-by-side comparison? What's the high-low on all that?
Yeah, that I don't know. I haven't done that kind of math, because I was looking more of the idea of, and I hate to use the term easier, but a package is a little bit easier to deal with, and all the parts are already built to go with each other. Not that I can't machine something or work something out to make it work, but it's sort of, I'm almost thinking path of least resistance for me, only because I've had the car for so long. When I bought that car, the intention was to rebuild the motor, do the brakes, and drive it. I didn't care about anything else. I was like, I don't care what it looks like. It's a freaking big, giant, cool boat from the 50s. I want to drive it. And it's turned into far more than that for far too long. Back when we bought that car, we drove up to Georgia and towed it back. And back then, buying the parts and just putting it back to the way, like restored, so to speak, was more cost effective and more desirable for the value of the car back then than now. It's like resto mod or modified it's almost more affordable from what I've seen, depending on what you do to it, of course, depending on how crazy you get. I'm not looking for something with a giant, blower on or anything like that. Naturally aspirated, it's fine. Some LS platform, I'm sure, will be more than sufficient. It's putting out shit. it's got a 2-barrel motor in it, so I'm not probably ain't putting out shit for power, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be just fine. It'll probably drive good. It'll be fun for us, you know.
Yeah, nice cruiser.
That's kind of where I'm thinking. And if I don't like it after that point, hey, I'll sell it off. Somebody else can go and enjoy it and have fun with it. And I'm off to the next build.
Well,
not to mention the wife's ready for me to build her a car too. So
right. Well, and it's kind of funny because I think was thinking I should probably put a little more context around me bringing up like the brakes side of things. Like not to say that you couldn't go out and find yourself a 4-wheel disc brake conversion.
it exists. Yeah, there's even a list of cars you can pick it off of, especially for the front. Rear ends, you guys know you have all kinds of options, even 9-inch.
Yeah, but I couldn't help but think like the way that Roadster shop's done the chassis, well, specifically the Ford, or fuck, maybe I'm cross-threading this with RideTech's new front independent thing. Like, are the hubs not designed for like an S550 brake system?
So they're they're Corvette hubs in the front.
Okay. So yeah, I guess where I'm going with all this is like, you know, are we going to hit a point? I'm sure it's inevitable where like, you know, there's not enough demand of people working on, say, these Fox bodies to even offer like a 4-wheel disc brake swap anymore. So going to the chassis or that SLA or whatever they call it there, the RideTech system, it's like, okay, well now we've just skipped like 30 years into the future. Like those parts aren't going to become obsolete for another 30 years beyond that. So they're therefore cheaper. It was kind of like the Cadillac Brembo brakes, right? And
I take that back. Yeah, you're right. The SLA stuff is the S550 hubs. Roadster shop uses Corvette.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, like in your case, Lewis, with your Bel Air, it's like, sure, there's these kits available. How long are they going to be available? Do you actually get hosed a little bit because there's not that many people out there swapping over Bel Airs anymore versus you go to the chassis and now you're probably in like whatever the Fox chassis realm where it's like Corvette shit and that stuff's going to be around forever. Right.
Well,
and it's all based on new tech.
So today I'm finishing up the rear disc conversion on Mr. K Design's car and standard Cobra brakes in the back. So not only are the pads a huge pain in the ass because it like the part numbers like 627 is the standard GT pad. The A627A is the Cobra pad, which is thinner to fit with the thicker rotor. So not only does the parts store fuck that up time and time again because they just grab the box that doesn't say A on it and think those are the right ones.
Yeah.
Those boxes don't come with the stupid little stainless hardware, even though on the box it says hardware included, but then it says an extra fine print on some applications. So
not yours.
Yeah. Do you think there's a way to buy those stupid little slider clips that go onto the pads?
Nope. I keep them anytime I fucking get a box with spares in them, just for that
same
reason.
Thing with the little, like the pad springs, like that, like on the actual caliper itself. It's like a weird little stainless plate that you kind of fucking finagle in there. So I don't know where these calipers came from, but they didn't have those, and the pads didn't come with the stupid little things. So I'm like going through all the options, and then there's one that shows all of that hardware included with the pads, of course, special order now. And I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. So luckily I've got a diff sitting, like a loaded diff next to the home shop. So I'm going to be stealing off these stupid little stainless clips
until he needs to use that diff and he doesn't have the clips.
Just so I can put on this so-called modern braking system on this Fox, which is really not that modern anymore, to your point.
Yeah. To your point, buddy, about the stupid little springy hardware shit. to the best of my knowledge, I don't think you can buy that stuff just standalone, because it's something that comes with every set of pads you get, and they're throwaway, right? Because nobody wants to sit there with a little piece of emery cloth and bring them back to life. So yeah, they just hit the bin and you get the new ones out of the box. But then in your case, somebody was probably already in your boat and they pulled the fucking clips out, sent the pads back.
No, so the clips don't come in the Cobra pad box. It's
Oh,
one of the parts that they're actually not included.
huh.
So that's why I was on the hunt, like, okay, I'll buy a set of GT pads because there was
Rob
an
the
option,
clips.
but that was a special order that came with all the clips.
Holy
There's
shit.
got to be somebody that makes a hardware bag. I mean, you can still buy for a drum assembly, you can still buy the hardware bag that's got the springs, the little pins that go through the drum that the spring goes on
Yeah.
with the little twist. Like you can buy all that shit in a hardware bag. I bought it for a F-150 that I did the rear brakes on, and maybe the demand's not there yet, or I don't know.
Well, funny
It
enough,
seems like that would be available.
I want to say the last time I was on this mad pad hunt, I ended up just getting a set off
28 days ago.
Amazon. And yeah, good one. And Amazon actually, yeah, they had the pads came. It wasn't like the best brake or whatever the brand is that O'Reilly uses, but the pads came, all the hardware was in the box and everything else. So, you know, sometimes you just gotta go to different sources.
You don't ever get the brake stuff from Rock Auto?
Sometimes, just depends. Like, you know, when I
How
can get
quick you need
stuff,
it.
if it's on demand and I'm not waiting for it, then great. Like Rock Auto is going to be a couple of days.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like, look, I can get
can't-
the extreme shit here from, it's all there. All those little springy clips are, you can see them next to the pads.
Yeah. I can't help but think that whatever company it is that makes those little OEM spring, clip deals, it's probably much like the Dubai Timu fucking stores. You know what I mean? Like there is someone out there that's called like Acme brake pad springy clips toe, and they make fucking clips for every set of pads out there. And yeah, they probably just go, why would we sell these individually? We give them in every package of pads, so there's no need, right?
Yep. Well, here we go. Bendix pads, complete, all hardware, $16.
There you go.
You got to make sure
I'll pay $16 for the clips. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there you go.
When you need something like that, you'll pay $1,600, right? It's like just
maybe you should order 2 or 3 sets right now and just have them on the shelf.
I know. Well, I think I was saying to somebody the other day, I'm surprised how many Fox bodies still need disc conversions, and not necessarily 5-lug, just rear disc, whether it's still 4-lug or not. It's amazing how many are still drum.
Yeah. It's I know anytime I've ever put a video out on that topic, somebody always weighs in, and I'm sure they won't listen to this, but because I tend to get on my whatever fucking pedestal and go like, the drum system is definitely not a awful system. It's not like you don't have rear brakes, but in a spirited driving scenario, you will run out of brakes way faster. Yeah. You want to go have a good time on Tail of the Dragon. At the other end, it's going to smell like you've been burning your clutch the whole way through that thing, right? Like those poor back drums are going to be worked. But there's always somebody that's like, hey, it's really not that bad a system. I'm like, no, I get it. Like, if you drive this car probably like Ford intended it to be driven, which is not like their marketing piece when they're running around a track and fucking, doing burnouts and stuff. Like that's really not how they intended it. It's like, just cruising to work and going for ice cream and shit like that, it's fine. They do okay. And realistically, they're at most 30% of your whole braking capability anyway, right? So, and they're light cars and all those things. So I get it. But yeah, why wouldn't you have the disc? And then you can get into the whole aesthetic side of things too, right? Like it just looks proper having a disc back there.
Dude, my Honda still has drum brakes in the back.
Right. Yeah, like I mean shit, big rigs running down the road use drums, you know? Now in theory, they shouldn't have to stand on them, right? They got Jake brakes, they can gear themselves down and whatever. They don't use a lot. Hopefully they don't have to. But it's not an awful system. But is it the best? I don't think so.
No, and you know, you modify the car as the power goes up, you should definitely look at brakes. They go together.
They do.
You need to stop that. But for stock applications, I mean,
yeah,
I wouldn't do it just for wheels. But
do you got drums on the back of the coupe?
No, I had all the parts and triplicate, so it got the conversion.
Okay. But that would be a car that you could make the argument for, like one way or the other. Like, does it need the disc?
No, not at all.
Not the way that you need it. Not the way you'd use it, right?
Hell, I'm still
my white coupe still drum in the back.
Which one is your white coupe?
Yeah, my white one.
Yeah, the only reason I did it is I had all the parts because that car is still, other than the Flowmaster catback, was stock when I got it. So the hell do I need a brake upgrade for a stock Mustang?
Yeah. Yeah, the 91's all stock brakes. Yeah, they're not whatever. You're not going to die if you have drums in the rear. You know, I guess that's probably the best way to sum it all up. But there's better ways to do it. Right?
Yeah. I was thinking about when you were saying that is how many of these cars have I had and how many have actually been converted to four-wheel disc. And I've actually done more 5-lug conversions than I've done four-wheel disc conversions. And the 5-lug conversions were just because of wheel options. Because over the years, how many worthwhile 4-lug wheels were there? Not as many as, you know, you could pick up factory 5-lug 17s all day long and change the look of your car over, you know, a few hours. So I did a lot of 5-lug conversions with the Lincoln rotor and the Ranger axles. That was when I used to be able to go in the junkyard and find them all over the fucking place. Now, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, 50 or 75 bucks later, you got yourself a
Ranger and an Aerostar, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Which, you don't see a lot of either of those anymore.
Rock Auto is pretty much that cheap, though.
Yeah.
I think the pair of rotors is $50 and axles are $68 a side or something.
Yeah, it's definitely, I just go that route. They're new, it's easy. You order it, it shows up, you're done. You don't have to figure out how to hold the car up in the air, undo the freaking pumpkin, and drain all that nasty fluid out onto the earth. I mean, into a container. And, you know.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. It's
it does. You guys touched on that last week. Like, really depends on your wheels. You know, you got a wheel that's a skinny spoke or even a multi-spoke, but you can see all inside there. It looks cool with a rotor and a disc in there versus, you know, plain old drum. So it is nice from that aspect as well. Like, if you've got something that's like those mesh wheels I have on the Cobra, I can't see any of those fucking brakes in there. Just it's tight. It's a tight mesh. Oh hell, the maker's wheels on the coupe, you can't see past that.
Yeah.
So. True. Yeah, you've kind of hidden everything behind there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a comment that stands out to me that I saw pop up periodically on one of my reels on Facebook, where the comment was, "Oh, whenever you see 5-bolt wheels on a Fox chassis, well, I shouldn't say that, an 87 through 93 Foxbody, okay? Whenever you see 5 lugs pull up at a stoplight, you know you're in trouble." And it's hilarious. It was funny to me, and I'm sure it would be to anyone that hears me say that, because when you live and breathe these cars, you know that those two don't always translate, right? But to somebody that's just kind of on the outskirts of the community and, you know, pays attention here and there, I can kind of see where that thought would come from, you know? I'm
It's like
like,
there's no T-top in 93.
yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it
not a
kind of made me
Cobra. It's
laugh.
got
And it was,
T-tops.
it
That was another good
was
one.
funny. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It was funny how that pops up. But yeah, if you like rewind the clock, say back to the 5.0 mag days, and if you just saw a still picture of an 87 through 93 car and it had a 5-bolt swap and maybe a set of like the Celine wheels that I have on my coupe, I can see how your mind would go like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like we're talking this car could have something under the hood, right? This could be something worth paying attention to. But anyway, yeah, found that
Well,
kind of funny.
these cars had that stigma back then too. It's like everybody wanted to race one. Doesn't matter if it's fast or slow or whatever. It's just everybody wants to race a 5.0. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that logic has stuck, but that's what these cars were. They were quick for what they were.
Yeah.
So,
No, that definitely I've still to this day have, you know, somebody pull up beside me in the daily, right? And it's like, not that they're like giving you the sign that you're going to race, but you know that the way they leave the light, there's some intention in their right foot. You know
like,
what I
let's see
mean?
if he
Like,
bites. Let's see if he bites.
yeah.
Yeah. I guess
So it's still out there.
I got one not long ago. It was hey, that looks nice. Is it fast, right? Yeah, it's fast, right? Got one of them 5.0s in it. I'm like, no, it's slow. Go away.
Yeah.
Some beater thing next to me. I'm like, no, go away before you hit me.
Yeah. I always go down that road too, right? Yeah, if the windows are down or whatever, it's like, nope. You know, it's nothing what you think it is, right? I'm getting a little too old to be fucking around like that anymore.
Yep.
But
Well,
yeah, man, you saying that just reminds me of the old days. Japers. Like you couldn't pull up to a street light without having somebody that wanted to mess around.
oh yeah. They were
Every
it's that reputation, man, and that sound. They could be
Yeah.
stock with a set of 2 chambers, and it's still that sound.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's true.
but
And that's well, maybe not anymore with like new modular motors and stuff, but I mean they can sound pretty snotty at a street light, kind of not lumping along like an old whatever small block or a big block, but yeah, I've heard some Camaros, you know, like new 6.2 Camaros or Corvettes, whatever, pull up beside you and you're like, holy Christ, right? Like this thing's ready to rock.
some of those Dodges, I don't know what the hell's under the hood. Some of them sound pretty good. Like just sitting there idling, they're the way they rumble. But
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
but so you mentioned the white car. That's what I'm bringing to pits, and I wasn't going to say anything, but I'll say something to you since I gave you such a hard time about how long it took you to get your Kenny Bell on. So I was going to throw that on there and show up and be like, "Hey, look what I did in a week," just to fuck with you. But now that I've gone off to the deep end of while I'm here, I don't know if I'll be able to get it on there or not. We'll see.
Right. Yeah, because that's the one that was at Chris's house, right? The 1.5 or 1.7 or whatever it is.
Yeah, the one that fits on the stock intake.
The baby bell.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of bolt and go.
Because that's why John, like, he screwed up buying it, right? He thought it was for a GT40 intake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the oval stock unit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Huh. Does anyone have any history on that blower, or is it just like looks good to go and bolt her on and send it?
I think it was gone through, was my understanding. Like it's actually been a while now, but like it seemed pretty clean. Like, and it even came with like all the old original instructions and everything, where it was like, this is how to tune it, you know, for every degree, the timing, you got to do this, or for every pound of boost, you got to do this with your timing and like this with your spark plug gap. And of course, pretty sure it came with an FMU as well, because it's designed to run on 19-pound injectors. And I think, if memory serves me right, because I think like out of the box, it's just supposed to be like 5 PSI, which I think can get away without having mass air on it as well. So it was sort of like this, just a little extra kick, nothing crazy. But with that said, I think there was an extra pulley and stuff like that to like spin it up a little bit more.
I don't remember seeing a pulley in the parts bag, but it's possible.
Does it have
one more? Yeah.
Did it come with the pulley tool for changing it?
I think so. It has some. It has a couple of odd looking, not brackets, that I think are tools. It's been sitting on the shelf since I got it back here. I haven't done shit with it. I've been thinking about it for a while. I also got the distract
on. You don't even need to put the belt on. Just bolt it on.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go. It'll look cool.
Yeah, just blow through. Yeah, that's one thing I don't have is that pulley tool. But whatever. I didn't have any of the tools when I took that thing apart, so should have just made a pulley changer tool at the same time.
There you go. Well, I may or may not throw that on there. We'll see. Now that I've taken on other projects. But
I mean, in theory, like your theory you're operating from, it's fucking 6 bolts. Like nothing to throw that thing on there.
Your upper intake is off to get your valve covers off, no?
No. I peeled the driver's passenger side one off without taking the intake off. Slides right out of there. But I haven't done the other side yet, so I'm already thinking, while I'm here, I can take this off and put this back on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like your biggest obstacle could probably be just messing with that AC line, depending on how you want to try and route it. Because I think, Gary, you went above, right? Like on Chuck's car, I managed to get it below.
So
I went under too, but this vintage air kit was a little more friendly with that.
The old instructions from way back, you were supposed to cut that line.
Yeah, they give you like a little barb fitting with some gear clamps.
Yeah, I mean, right now the car there's no gas. It needs to be charged. It all leaked out when I got it, so it hasn't had AC for a few years. So I mean, technically,
probably needs O-rings anyway.
Yeah, well,
while you're in there,
exactly. Yeah. Or it's still nice out, so AC, who cares? I could leave that line off or extend it or whatever just to get it on there. But yeah, eventually, I wonder.
I think the extension was to go over, like the blower, which in intake and stock format, it was to go over and have enough clearance. But yeah, I can't really think of a reason as to why you wouldn't want to go under.
Yeah. It seems like it would make more sense. I don't know. I'll have to look closer. I have not spent any time with that. Like I said, I was contemplating that just to, because I gave you such a hard time. But
well, right now it's making me feel better because that thing is probably sitting on your shelf longer than mine sat on mine. So I feel better.
I could find the photo I got that I took of it when it arrived and probably burn myself. So maybe I will.
Explain to me that moment or that feeling when you got it, because I know you felt similar to the way I felt
before I got it. When I showed up at his house, I was there a few days helping him, and of course, knowing Chris as long as I have, we talked about it before. I'm like, oh, I know these things aren't that great, but they just look so fucking cool sitting on top of these motors.
100%.
So he's like, hey, if you can fix John's car, we'll get you a good deal on this. Not knowing that I was going to end up doing the heads and all that nonsense we went through to fix that. But I was like, okay. So at that point, I mean, you want to talk about can't see past your fucking boner. I was like, let's go. And then at that point, I was like, okay, well, I don't have a check-in, so I can't carry it on the plane with me. I was like, all right, well, I'll have you mail it to me. So I get back and I'm scrambling to, at work, we get a discounted shipping. And I used to be able to buy a prepaid shipping label. So I go to buy the shipping label to send it to him because I can mail it back to myself for like, $12. And so I go to get the shipping label, like, yeah, no, somebody fucked the system. We changed the rules. So you can only ship out, you can't ship in. I'm like, God damn it. So I procrastinated a little longer, and Chris tells me, I'm cleaning up my shop. This is in the way. And I'm like, really? All the bullshit you have over there and you're worried about this one little supercharger? So he shipped it to me, and man, when it showed up here, I was there running around like chasing my tail, going, "This is awesome!"
Yeah.
So it was, even just walking into the garage and I see it on the shelf in the corner over there. I'm like, "Oh, that thing looks cool." Even sitting over there.
I thought I checked that in.
No, you shipped it to me.
Are you sure I didn't check it in my luggage?
No, it cost me like $85. You shipped it.
Oh.
You bitched about the box.
Yeah.
We talked about trying to bring it on, but it's awkward.
Yeah.
And it's heavy. And I didn't take it apart. He sent it together.
Right. Oh, like blower on the intake and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
He wrapped it up really good and sent it together all in one piece.
Right. It definitely is one of those pieces. Like I'm kind of laughing to myself right now, thinking like, how many times did I walk past that thing sitting on my bench and just give it a couple of spins and hear whoop, whoop, whoop.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I was looking for a part last weekend, and I went over there and I spun the I did the same thing. So,
it's one of those pieces that, it just, if it touched you at the right moment in time, I mean, it's kind of welded in your mind forever.
Dude, when I saw the first one, like, I can't even remember when. I just remember seeing it, and I was like, what the hell is that thing? How cool is that?
Yeah.
And then I start learning a little about it, and I never bought one because of the price, and also because I've kind of have car ADD. I used to get rid of my cars quite quickly. Surprised I've had these as long as I've had them. And so why get one, right? Like on the shelf, I have a brand new Maximum Motorsports K-member race. I mean, strut tower brace. Right. And I was telling Chris, I'm like, dude, this is the third one I have, because every time I get one, I cannot bring myself to put the holes in the strut towers, or I sell the car before I put the strut tower brace on. So I bought this one that I have now to put on this convertible that I had. And after I painted the car and everything looked great, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this car. I'm ready to sell it. I was like, well, why am I going to bolt this on there? I'm selling the car. What if the next guy doesn't want this shit? So I sold the car. So now I still have it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put it on the Cobra. Well, after I built the Cobra, I'm like, man, the engine bay looks great. I'm not going to drill fucking holes in this thing. So it's still sitting on the shelf. Because I like what he did in the yellow car. I was going to paint it teal to match the car, because he color matched the one in the yellow car. I'm like, that's a nice touch. It looks different. I like it.
Yeah.
So I was going to do something like that, but I can't bring myself to make the holes in the car. And I'm like, so it's sitting on the shelf.
Too funny. So the blower may, but probably may not be on the coupe.
May or may not, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. See how the 3-day weekend goes.
Yeah.
But the exhaust will sound better.
Well, the exhaust is going to sound so much better. Especially now. Go ahead.
You're going to drive it to pits.
Not this time. I'm going to tow it.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say it may sound better on short trips, but you and Mama may want to kill each other by the time you get to pits.
Well, I've got the X pipe with 2 chambers on the Cobra. We've already driven that a couple shows, and it's been fine. Yeah, it's been fine.
Right.
Yeah.
What gear's in that car?
The coupe is running 327.
Okay.
Yeah. The Cobra is still running this stock, whatever was in there. I think 308s is in that one.
Okay.
I've got 355s on the shelf. I thought about putting those in too. And I'm like, the blower and 355s?
Wake her up.
Yeah. But I was like, maybe I'll just leave the 327s for now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you'll like it, buddy. I know, like I was saying, when I remember seeing that first edition. I can't remember what mag it came out in, but I was like, oh my God, like this has to happen. But then young, no money in your pockets whatsoever, and being in Canada and knowing full well what that thing's going to be worth to try to move up here, right? It was just a pipe dream.
Yeah.
So yeah, when this one kind of fell on my lap, if you will, because yeah, I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but my buddy messaged me and said, hey, you're kind of sewn into the community pretty well. If you happen to know anybody that wants one of these, I'm like, you don't call anyone else.
Yeah. I already know somebody.
Yeah, like this is happening. Yeah, and then I think Chris, you and I were doing something. Maybe it was shitbox time when he was boxing it up and sending it over to me. And actually that wasn't a cheap shipment either, because he sent me all kinds of stuff. Fuck, different lower intake, injectors, like it was a kind of package deal. And yeah, it came in one of those like proper sized, I don't even know how many gallon they are, but like blue Tupperware bins, you know, like the shit you got in your basement. It came in one of those, all duct taped up and stuff. I couldn't wait to crack the lid off that thing though. Yeah, pretty exciting one. And then only to find out that got a bad bolt in this thing, right? Which while I'm in here,
I'll take the whole thing apart.
Yeah. I remember actually, maybe it's that goofy little experience that gives me so much, like, I don't know, animosity or whatever when we talk about like Matt Armstrong and these exotic cars, right? I'm like, I remember cracking the fucking case on that blower going, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, and there's no information out there. Like, it's just, yeah.
What's the worst
it's
that
like,
could happen? I got to send it back to Kenny Bell.
well, the worst that could, no, the worst that could happen is I'm out $4,000. And okay, I'm not out 2.5 million like Alex G would be, but you know, to me, I feel like it am, or I would be.
Oh yeah.
$4,000 goes places when you're feeding fucking 5 people, you know? Anyway, yeah, there was some pucker moments in all that for sure, but seemed to hold up so far.
I'm hoping not to have to take this one apart. So I don't want to go that route.
Well, I had a fella email me the other day saying, hey, I seen your video on the Kenny Bell blower. And I'm like, oh shit, do I even want to read any further from here, right? And he goes,
let me tell you what you did wrong.
no, it was actually, can I ship you my blower? I'm like, listen, pal, this is kind of like a Matt Armstrong story. Like, I'm fine screwing my own blower up. I'm not fine screwing yours up. Okay. And not once you take it apart and you like anything, right? You're kind of like, well, this wasn't so bad. However, you know, when I think back to like the recon that I was doing and like finding like little threads of information in old forum posts that talked about a torque spec or a whatever, I'm like, I have a fucking 3-ring binder worth of information of little bits and pieces of, it was like investigating a fucking murder, trying to figure out how to pull that thing apart and put it back together properly. Yeah.
They're like Bugatti. They don't want you doing it. They want to do it for you.
100%. Yeah. And there is another guy though that he reached out. He wanted to rebuild his own, and I was able to give him, I guess, enough information. I haven't heard from him since he was finally like sealing it up and everything. Hopefully it all worked out for him. But he ran down the road of, yeah, like building his own tool like we did to crack this thing apart and pull all the gears out of it and shit. Yeah, was whatever, more than willing to pull that thing apart and figure it out, you know? Now maybe he wasn't like me in that he bought it, still had the money that he spent to get it not fresh in his head. You know, he had a handful of years of like letting all that exit his brain before he had to pull it apart. I didn't. So I'm going like, son of a bitch, did I just buy a $4,000 boat anchor? Like, what the hell's wrong with me, you know? But yeah, I guess what I was saying is like anything, once you do it, you're like, okay, well, this isn't as bad as I thought it is. But I'm still, the one part of that whole scenario that I'm still a little hung up on is as you're timing the rotors or clearancing the rotors. And the only piece of information I could find on this was no one would give you like a feeler gauge spec, like how many thou. And I don't even think, yeah, I want to say the information I found on it like it was referenced out of some manual that they were able to find somewhere that said you need to use a 24-pound weight piece of printer
Your
paper.
special paper.
Yeah. And you're going like, really? But that can be translated over into like a thou measurement. I want to say it's like 2 thou, 3 thou, something like that, right?
Did you translate that and save that information somewhere in case you need to do it again?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Got a
But I still
bind,
remember
stack
sliding
of
that piece of
paper.
paper. Yeah. I still remember sliding that piece of paper between the rotor going like, really? Like we're really doing it. You know, like I guess, you know, but in the back of your head, you're going, is this good enough? Like, are we, but why wouldn't it be? I guess. I don't know. My mind was a little whatever, out of sorts at the time.
Well, like you
But
said, man, it's working good. You don't have any issues. So
seems to be. My snout is like where the pulley mounts to the snout or whatever. That's got a little bit of a sweaty thing going on with it. And which drives me absolutely nuts because while I was in there, why wouldn't you change that seal, right? Nope. Didn't even think about it. It looked fine, looked dry, looked good, right? So didn't change it. Now I got a sweaty seal.
I wondered, Chris, is the one that Gary has in his car, the snout and pulley, the same size as what I have? Like, am I going to risk hitting my hood liner too?
Maybe more so, dude, because you'd have a bigger pulley than I do.
I'll have to take a, you know what? I'll get a picture of it and send it to you so you can see it.
While you're in there, why don't you throw some convertible mounts in?
Oh, motor mounts?
Yeah.
Well, you got to pull a motor anyway.
Yeah. Well, then I'm definitely not bringing the car. The motor comes out, forget it. Now versus a much longer project.
2x4 under the oil pan, jack it up.
I could lift the front of I could lift the motor up with a hoist. That's not a big deal.
2x4 and a jack, bro. You're gonna pull the motor later anyways. You'll be fine. Keep it simple.
The old balancer trick.
And hope that those old motor mounts are not frozen to the bottom of that block.
They won't. Yeah. Nah, that shit. I've never had a problem with it with those.
Yeah. I'm thinking you may be onto something there though, dude. Like I know shit, I'm drawing a blank on his last name, Mike, but remember he was at Pitts last year with the super clean white GT.
Yeah, he's got a Kenny Bell on that one.
Yeah,
it's really tidy. It looks nice. I talked to him for a little bit. It looks good.
Yeah,
fits.
So he, nice. I believe, had to pull his liner out. He was hitting his liner, and I was in the same boat. That's where my whole trimming of the horse mod came in.
Yeah, you put.
And dude, my pulley. When you go to look at yours, you probably will tonight before you go to bed now. My pulley is like the same diameter as the outer end of the snout. Like it's a small pulley.
Dude, I want to say this one's the same way. I'm gonna run and grab a picture. I'll get a picture of it.
Okay.
Hell, I might even put.
Yeah, because they usually come with like a, I don't know, 3-inch, let's say, something like that. So maybe whoever had that thing was spinning it right up.
Maybe.
They wanted to make cool noises.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which they do when you spin them up.
Yeah, I just bolted a fucking gear drive in. I cheated. Everywhere I go, like, oh, how many pounds of boost you making? I'm like, oh, man.
That's the power steering pump.
These drum brakes can't even handle it.
Yeah.
So how are you liking that?
would necessarily do it again.
That's
Like,
what I was
I'm
gonna say.
glad I
Would you
did
do it
it.
again?
Yeah, I'm glad I did it. My understanding is like there is a little bit of like a break-in, like they do quiet down after a little while. Um, it's really just at the idle. Like it's noisy as fuck just sitting there. Like it's and it's not like that S trim sound. Like it's like the S trim sound like your power steering pump's ready to explode. This kind of it's a little bit different in nature. And it's just the way I know what it is. It's just the way it vibrates through that flimsy timing cover. Like if the timing cover was made out of a different material or there was something in there to kind of reverberate the noise a little differently. Because as soon as you give it throttle, then it's like the annoyingness of that resonance goes away and then you hear the gears doing their thing. So I don't know. It's cool. It feels good. But yeah, like I'm not sold on it like you'd want to do it on every car. But like cruising and stuff, you don't even like there's no difference. Like you hear the cabin still the same cabin noises and all that stuff. Because some people were like, oh, it's so noisy, you hear it all the time and blah blah blah. It's gonna drive you mental. And there's none of that.
Turn the mini
Yeah,
disc
it's
player up
definitely
and
not a
keep going.
yeah. It's definitely not a common modification.
No, and
like
it's a
even
lot of the comments that I get. It's like, oh, I remember my buddy had one of those on his car way back in the day. Like, I don't think anybody uses them now. Like,
no.
with that said, there's a place that has now they've done billet gears for the Godzilla, and I want to say I looked it up. I think it's like 5 Gs.
Jeez.
Like some
Holy.
one-off fucking, that's just burning money pricing.
Wow.
How many did you order?
Yeah. None. That's like the cost of the motor damn near.
You know, this reminds me of something. I could have this messed up, but my infatuation with that 427 Cammer motor that Ford kind of tried to, well, they made and then it went away just as fast as it was made kind of thing. Because one of the knocks on that motor was the whole like timing chain setup, and this thing had like a half mile worth of chain that ran through that great big wide block, right? And I want to say somebody made a gear drive for it. And fuck, I watch these late at night kind of to fall asleep. So I could have this screwed up, but I can't help but think I can picture it in my head. So I must have seen it. It looked like a blown up version of somebody putting together like a Rolex watch. You know, it's like gear on gear on gear to gear to gear, just a fucking mess of gears.
Right.
But it was a way of getting away from this, half mile of timing chain.
Okay, I take it back. $1,800.
It's still pricey.
It is pricey, and
What's
it's
a regular
actually,
chain setup for it?
yeah, and there.
Or is it
Well,
belt?
no, it's regular. It's a normal chain, like double roller. Like it's a nice looking piece. Like, and I think probably because like the whole,
That does look tidy.
and the gears are angled as well. Like mine are straight cut, so this would be a little quieter.
So what, like, maybe a silly question, but what possessed them to want to do that? Do you know?
Let's see what it says.
Like, I can't help but think that, going gear over chain, there's a strength argument, higher horsepower argument, all this stuff. But like, is there anybody out there that you're aware of that's really spinning this Godzilla up to like the Godzilla's still got a long ways to go before people say what they're saying about, say, the Coyote motor, right?
So it says maximum strength designed for high lift, aggressive camshafts, and high RPM race engines.
Okay, there you go.
Eliminates failure points with stock chain and hydraulic tensioners. Easy adjust cam timing. Low helix gear tooth design minimizes noise while reducing axial thrust. Bolt-on installation. No engine block machining required.
Cool.
I should reach out to them. That'd sound cool in the Cobra.
There you go. Yeah.
Because you don't have enough work. You don't have enough work to do on that one.
Well, I have to pull. I'm cam swapping it anyways. So
You're
while
gonna have
I'm
it
in
open.
there,
Yeah, while you're there.
that's gonna be the name of this pod.
Dude, I was
While
just
you're
gonna
in
say
there.
that. We got to name it that. Yeah, for sure. Boys, I've been doing a little homework here recently. Speaking of high horsepower, that's what kind of made me think of this. I've thrown it out there a couple times, like how neat I think it would be to go down the Barra route with the 79. And so I'm like, well, the fact that I'm thinking about this, like that probably justifies me putting a little bit of recon time into this, right? And I'll see what's out there for info and whatever else. Anyway, the funniest part about all of this, and I guess it's because we're just not in that Australian Barra realm, but much like the Coyote stuff, where I've heard guys on podcasts where they're like, yeah, I mean, stock bottom end, like 12, 1500, like saying numbers that just blow us lighter horsepower head guys, like we come from the era of like, if you had 400, you were fucking like on fire, right? So this Barra world is like, well, it's pretty much that. Like they're like, listen, if you want to build a nice, like really tame, mild mannered Barra stock bottom end, like there's a couple top end flips you do, some valve spring stuff and whatever. But yeah, like 1,500 horsepower with a, right turbo and stuff. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Like these things just like that. Like enjoy it. They get out of bed for it.
That Barra motor's an inline 4-cylinder, right?
Six.
Oh, inline 6 or a V6?
4-liter inline 6.
Oh, so it's almost like the one in the Ford trucks, the 3-liter. I mean the 4.9 liter or whatever. No, the inline 6. Yeah, the 300.
Oh, the 300. Yeah.
So that kind of configuration too.
Yeah.
Just that one was anemic as fuck.
But it
would run forever.
Yeah. It'd pull a tree out of the ground too. Just don't try and get up to speed on the interstate anytime soon.
Yeah. 100 horsepower, 3,000 foot-pounds of torque, and 40 mile an hour on the interstate. But yeah, it was just wild to hear these Australians talk about it in such a matter-of-fact way, where they're just like, well, like 1,200, like very mild-mannered, 1,200 horsepower. Like, what? It just doesn't compute. And then they're like, yeah, but I mean, if you want to get into that like 2,500 horsepower range, which is just, I don't know, hard to get your head around. They're like, now you get into like billet cranks and stuff. I'm like, holy fuck. The fact that we're still talking about the same block is just beyond my comprehension, So
does this mean you're gonna do it in this and the yellow one?
Well, I'd like to. And had I not had as much on my plate over the last little while as I did, I probably could have been a little more strategic about this and maybe bought one from Australia and then brought it down with me in my trailer.
Right.
But
so I have access to a Barra motor in Houston.
You know of one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mustang guy. He's got it there sitting on a shop floor.
Okay. Because I think trying to get one, well, not that it can't be done, but I'd be pretty much in the same boat that I'm at here in Canada just trying to do it in the United States with all the tariffs and shit, right? I probably would have been better off getting it while I was here. But yeah, apparently the one you want, actually, I don't know. I might have to do a little more research, but it seems like the one you want are the non-turboed ones because they come in both variations. But there's some nuances to the non-turboed ones that actually make them better candidates for aftermarket turbos. But yeah, they seem dead simple. I've watched some videos on guys tearing them down and stuff, and it's just like, fuck, this just seems like my kids could do this shit.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Hey, girls, rebuild this. If it runs, you can all have Snapchat.
Dude, that's a good idea.
Well, the 79, and I actually think this, well, this might make it a little more sentimental to me. It will for sure. But Kaylee, my 15-year-old in Tennessee, can get her learners at 15.
Yep.
And she's actually halfway into being 15 right now too. So 6 months away from driving. And one of two things would happen, I think, if that kid drove the 79 to school. She'd either chase all the boys away, or it might backfire on me and go the other route.
Dude, all I could think of is going down, because I'm just about done my nostalgic Who's the Boss fucking series. And when Tony got Sam's car on the license plate, and it was like this big yellow fucking boat, and he put reflectors around the whole thing.
Right.
And it turned into exactly like she had to like park like 6 blocks away from school and walk because she was so embarrassed to pull up to school in this big yellow reflected thing.
Yeah, that could be her. So whatever, it might work in my favor, but yeah, letting her rattle around in it in stock format would be nice. And then I don't know, maybe find her something else and put the 79 under the knife. But I think that'd be a cool homage to, well, the car that it even currently is, and something you don't see a lot of. Definitely will be a steep climb. I mean, I know Time Fox there. Not Brennan. Reagan. Yep. Told us all about that, right? And I should almost re-listen to that pod because I know there was a lot of good info that he shared with us. But yeah, wasn't easy making that thing do what it does, right? But super
good
cool.
Thing is he did give a lot of that insight, and I'm sure he'd be willing to help walk you through some of it.
Yeah. I think what a person would, like, the boat you'd end up in is, no matter what, you're going to be dealing with Australia for a lot of it. And then probably even from a tuning standpoint, but that's whatever, wake up at a weird hour and go on a FaceTime with them or whatever and have them remote tune it or whatever. Yeah. But I think it'd be pretty cool. Wouldn't give you all the fancy V8 sounds, but
yeah, but if it's something you're interested in, the build part is the fun part. That's why I wanted a Teal Cobra. I built the car. I love the car. It came out nice. It looks great. Can enjoy it whenever I want, but I built it. I'm done. Now what?
Now it's for sale. How much?
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think anybody that's seen that car,
but you'll be the same way. Yeah. I mean, from what it was to what it is, that was the fun part.
Yeah.
Just building it back, and you will do the same with the 79. If that's what, obviously if that's like the body style and the car, that's what you want to build with. So the journey is always fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. To your point, sometimes maybe could be argued more fun than the getting out there and enjoying it, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's fun too. It's just a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah, as much as we complain about it, I know I think I lean more towards the build aspect of things, right? Because yeah, once it's done, now it's like, now what?
Drive it.
Yeah,
Or,
I got no more stress.
Or then you change something and you end up doing it over again.
Yeah.
While you're in there.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, maybe that's a good place to wrap, boys, while you're in there.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Lewis, glad we could do this, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. This was fun. I had mentioned to Chris before. I'm like, hey, if you guys ever want to bullshit, let me know. And it worked out really well, timing wise. So, totally. What is it? Somebody posted something. It's like 40 some odd days till pits.
Is it only that many?
Yeah, everybody get busy.
Yeah, it's close. Closer than we think.
Well, you know who, and I mean, I don't think there's any reason that he couldn't do this, but brother Tom, who wants to have his car at pits, like he posted a pic today of just the fresh engine bay being all painted up. So like in theory, got enough time on schedule, but we all know how things go, right? Like, oh shit.
Is he thinking of bringing that car as a roller or
no, runner?
But runner before they paint the whole thing.
They're not painting the whole car. They just did the bay.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was already tuned and everything. So like proof of concept was done. So they technically just got to put back in what they took out.
Because that was the part where I got confused, because I know that there was something about getting it running, tuned, whatever, and then taking the motor back out. Was that something along those lines? I remember what he was saying.
Yeah, he was on with Tom and John talking about that, and they were giving him shit, going like, just do it all at once and whatever. Yeah.
Oh. Well, that'd be cool. I've heard a lot about that car. I'd like to see it.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say the year we did the shit box, I seen it at Detroit. I think that's the only time I've seen it actually. And I think it's an original paint car too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Speaking of the shit box, did it sell again?
No. I think it's like officially posted up for sale now though.
The old girl.
Yep.
Buy that and strip it. Parts car.
There's a lot of parts on that car, yeah.
Uncover all the secrets of the shit you two hid.
I don't think most of that was exposed.
On
the only thing that we hid were some of our last minute emotions.
True. Yeah, which should have been shown, but that's where you need a cameraman. We needed you there, Lewis.
I showed up there. You weren't there. I don't know what happened to you.
Oh, right. Yeah, because
you went back home.
That's right. Yeah, because you were there for what? The dash was half out?
It was
he helped recover the seats.
Yeah. Chris had me on some smaller task, and then he's like, leave that other shit. Gary's coming back. And he had me help him swap out 2 different T56s, which, man, that's a heavy fucking transmission. Because it was that one in the blue car and one in the other one.
Oh, that's right.
I was free labor for the few days. So I was like, whatever you want, I'll help you with. So,
and speaking of which, even the TR 3650, because I had to carry that motherfucker into the shop tonight after painting it, and I'm like, man, this thing's heavy. Like even a 3550 is heavy. Like anything other than a T5 weighs twice as much.
Yeah, they're pretty stout.
Right.
Yeah.
What's a T5? Like 70, 75 pounds kind of thing?
I don't even know if it'd be that. Well, maybe.
I don't know. It feels heavier now at 52 than it did at 29.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now I have a transmission jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks again, bud.
No problem.
Don't go anywhere.
Anytime.
And yeah. Thanks for listening, ladies and gents.
Yeah.